I know it's so abrupt when I jump on, so I try to ease in before I get to my normal hello, how's it going? I hope everyone's doing well. My name is William, and this is my so called life. Welcome, welcome. Everybody's welcome. I hope you're having a great Monday. If not, I will be here to waffle for the next couple of hours. I've so all kinds of things. There's certain things that I fall into, certain things I fall in love with. And I'm glad that Jncos are back. Let's just say that. For anyone who's new, welcome to the House of Sewing. My name is William. I'm going to be making a few things this evening. I'm going to be going off about all kinds of things, finishing a few projects. Um I own more denim than any person I could possibly think of. So I'm looking for new ideas, new things to make that isn't an Elvis jumpsuit. Let me know. I'm gonna grab my Jncos. So on the last couple of pairs that I've made, I've I've hung patches on them. I've done all kinds of fancy things. On this pair, all I really did was match the color. And then, they became magic. It was hard choosing what color I wanted, but when I went to this store, it's not that I didn't have options, it's that I haven't made Jncos and necessarily in that color. So I was like, why not? I might as well. Let's see. I have all kinds of crazy questions this evening. Hey, Trees, how's it going? How's it going? Great to see you. Great to see you. I'm actually in a patch life crisis right now. I need to stop ordering patches. I always say, "Oh, there's never enough denim. I will never run out of denim." But I'm putting patches on everything. I pulled up my coffee pot had a patch on. My towels in my bathroom have patches on it. So I think I have to slow down on buying patches. Which reminds me, there are probably a couple will probably be here in a day or two. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, the struggle is real. Do you know Amazon has made the world a little bit too convenient? So if you can think of it as far as a patch goes, it's probably out there. Somebody's probably making it and trying to sell it to you. It's a crazy time that we live in. Awesome, awesome. Hey, Rashawn, how's it going? How's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you. Had a good time. I'm critically drinking today. I had to run to my son's MMA class. Awesome, awesome. Do you know what's really funny? I put this in my notes. Everybody loves to work out, but a lot of people skip leg day. A lot of people skip leg day. At this gym my son goes to, there's all these buff dudes, and I'm like, are you guys like on hover cars? Are you, because every single person skipped leg day. Just an observation. I'm an observant person. Going well, yeah, that was fun. Awesome, awesome as always. Had a great time. Awesome as always. Before I get to, I have all kinds of stuff, and I made Jncos, and it's gonna be hilarious in a minute when I put these things on. It's gonna be hilarious. But before I get too ahead of myself, this this program is for entertainment purposes only, and its content is not intended to malign any religion, lack thereof, race, company, individual, or wigs. All opinions expressed by my so-called life and program participants are solely their personal views and do not reflect the views of every human being on planet Earth. I hope everybody has a great evening flying my so-called life airlines. And if you're having a bad evening, if you need an Activia, we have exits on both sides. And that's a izquierda and derecha. You know, about every 6 months, I purge everything I watch on YouTube because there's certain rabbit holes I fall down, and it's like, do I really need to be in the world of golf socks? Look it up. There's a whole world of how to make golf socks, how to wear them, how to all kinds of things. So I had to purge all the weird stuff I've been watching for the past 6 months, and it feels good to get rid of a lot of this stuff. A disclaimer. I try to cover as many people as I can with my disclaimer. I tried to, yeah, disclaimer, not golf sock. I fell in this rabbit hole of how to make your own socks, and it slowly set me down that rabbit hole. Hey, I was subscribed to like 5 different people. It was getting deep. Disclaimer, you know what it is? A disclaimer is all encompassing, and it really helps you see through all the crud and all the riffraff, because it just lets people know I'm not here to fight you. I'm gonna have a good time. I may say something that offends you, but it was not in. Oh, it's gonna be that kind of night. Oh, oh man. Are we still standing? Are we still standing? My internet, my man, Spectrum and I are not getting along right now. So I might hop on the other computer if the internet gets a little squirrely. Yikes. How are we doing? Do we have to refresh or what? Oh man. I unsubscribed from 20 people last night, and I had them remove their videos or quit making content. I acquired way too many subs. I do that as well. I sub back to everybody. Yay, hello. Man, my internet and I are not getting along this evening, but that's okay. So my local 99-cent stores are going out of business. And what's happening is they're doing like 20% off, and then 40% off, and then 60% off. I have never seen the parking lot so filled. I've never seen so many people dying to buy cheap stuff for like a quarter or whatever it is. It's crazy. But as somebody who buys out stores, I'm not mad at it, but it's just insane to watch. They're closing them, and I don't know if you're familiar with a store called Big Lots, but they're opening up Big Lots all across where all the 99-cent stores were. And I don't know, Big Lots was just an overpriced 99-cent store to me, so I don't know how this is gonna go. 99-cent stores were clutch. It's sad. My when my son was younger, I used to take him there and be like, "Hey, kid, get anything you want." You know, it makes you feel rich when you can go somewhere and get anything go to a store and be like, "Hey, man, you can go crazy here." That was before they changed the price where it was the not so dollar store. Yes, we used to have Big Lots everywhere, but they fell off here. We may have one. We have one in my town. It's crazy to me how that place has survived because I wear watches. I love wearing a watch. I've said a million times, my mom buys me these crazy watches, but I like wearing a watch. I buy cheap watches. I'll go to Big Lots and pay $10. And because of my eyesight, I get the huge open face watches. And Big Lots really doesn't even have it doesn't have what it used to anymore. So it's changed. It's really fell off. Oh, excuse me. We'll see if my internet makes it better or worse. Oh, come on, Wonder Twin. The Wonder, I'm waiting for you because I'm gonna I have a few questions for you, and I have a reveal with my pants. But I still need to work on them because there's certain parts where I have to hand sew. And while I was making my video, I forgot that I had my camera on. That thing was rolling for 45 minutes. I might put that part in my video. It's an interesting case study on human behavior when you watch yourself because you know yourself. So I was sewing, and then all of a sudden I went like this, and I got caught in a show. And because this room is ADD on steroids, I turned the volume up on Alf. And then I was watching the game. And then I started watching the Dodger game. And it was interesting to watch how distracted I get. So I might put that in the video sped up a little bit. It was really interesting. And I was sewing in between, but it's funny to watch yourself and the weird intricacies that you do while you're doing the thing that you love to do. Crazy, crazy time. So I've been driving my son to school. I've said this a million times. We're just getting out from the pandemic. We're just coming out. We are mole people. We are real life mole people. I was not ready for teen drivers. Man, I know half of these people do not have insurance and they're taking chances like they do have insurance. It's crazy. It is crazy watching these kids. I my oh, okay. Hey, how's it going, Alibaba? How's it going? Oh my man, it's gonna be a spectrum kind of evening. It is, I can tell. Oh, if my internet drops out, avenge me. Make a pair of pants in my honor. Or a jacket. So lately, there we go. My computer is not. So, anyways, lately I've been driving, and driving around teenagers is scary. And I'm in a 25-foot long giant truck. I'm protected. These kids, I'm guaranteed they don't have insurance and they're driving like they do. Oh man. So making these pants was actually fun. And the more and more I make Jncos, I'm getting better at it. I've made quite a few pairs, and this pair actually looks really good. I didn't go all the way up. I kind of went like mid thigh, top of the knee. They're not necessarily bell bottoms because they would be bell bottoms if they were more flared out. I just made the bottoms huge. I bought a pair of pants that was already pretty big to begin with. So I was actually shocked at the results, and I actually they came out perfect. I'm gonna try them on in a second, but I'm gonna need to get some sneakers on. Because these pants are huge, and I want to say the bell at the bottom, but the bottom of the pants are huge. That's the whole point of making Jnco jeans in the first place, was because they were so humongous. But I don't know if you've seen the video where I fall skating. You want to make them big, but not so big that you're walking on them. Which I pretty much am walking on them in my video. Hey, hello, Alibaba. How's your night going? How's your night going? I hope you're doing well. You know what's really funny? I still have not gone to my local Walmart since I said I will not since I said I will never go again. And I'm never going to go to the Walmart by my house again, and it's not even for any petty reasons. It's just that they have a fabric counter that no one goes to. So I've been going strong for a week or two now, and I'm actually proud of myself. All right. I'm on my second day today after the sunset and rise in the afternoon. Do you know what's funny? I'm not talking about the eclipse because I live on the West Coast. And to quote Yella, it was just another day. It was literally just another day here. And I'm not even dogging it. I'm saying that out of jealousy. It was, the sky didn't even blink. And if it did, I was inside and not paying attention. Um, if anybody wants to say their experience, please let me know. How was it? Was it like midnight in the middle of the day? Here in California, nothing changed. It I didn't even notice until I was running around doing things this morning and I came back and I put it on YouTube and people were talking about the eclipse. That's how I knew it actually happened. It's one of those funny things where I didn't live near this event, so it really didn't, I'm not, it wasn't one of those things. It was amazing. And see, East Coast bias. East Coast bias. You guys get your sports first. All your teams get put on television. You get the eclipse. East Coast bias. I have to remind myself to talk about it because it just wasn't a part of my day. Skits, if you're listening, let me know how it went. I know you drove miles and miles to go see the eclipse. I think that's dedication and that's awesome. I was in the partial eclipse called the annular eclipse. Today is one mag and I was 0.934. I had all the timing set up beforehand and all. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you were there at the precise moment. I took my mom to the path of totality. See, those are the experiences that, like, being in a car with someone you love, those are the experiences I like. I've gone to a lot of shows, and I've noticed as I've gotten older, the stories I tell are about how I got there, who I was with, what I was doing, and it's less about the band I was seeing. It's more about the experience I was having with the people, or just my personal experience. I had the glasses and all that too. That's awesome, Alibaba. That's awesome. Slight delay, but there's shortly to see those Fab Jncos. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I should really put my glasses on. I am gonna make a hood for that weird. I don't even know what to call this material. What should I call this? This is definitely a trippy material. And as you can see, I cut it right before the divide. No wonder he sold me like, oh man, I had yards. I had seriously 40 or 50 yards of this stuff. And I still have a whole roll. What should I call this though? I think it's awesome because it looks like it's melting, but what should I make this? I was I am gonna use this for the hood, but what else should I make out of this is what I'm trying to say because I have a ton of this material. I need to go downtown. This weekend I went to I'm doing that Steven Tyler thing to my microphone where I'm wrapping fabric around it. This weekend I went to the swap meet and I went crazy as far as fabric. I got all kinds of things. I need to go downtown because what's gonna happen is that interesting pattern. I love that pattern. That's the thing. When I'm looking through fabric, people they're looking for thread content, they're looking for all of these things. I'm like, Oh, I like that. Oh, that's trippy. Oh, I like that. I like that. and I do look for texture and things like that, but it's more or less something that's either foreign to me or something I haven't worked with. Far out Picasso pattern. I like that. That's a good label. Sell it for a fake Picasso and name it the Raging Ocean. That's against the law here, but sounds like Alibaba's down for some Ocean's 11 stuff. Good to know. Good to know. What about a vest with the white as the back and the pattern as the front panels? Doesn't look stiff enough, but that's what's come to mind. I like that. Do you know with enough lining, you could make anything stiff, or give it the appearance of being stiff. Because if you look at your jacket, if you look at a lot of your clothes, the material is actually extremely thin. It's just folded in on itself, surged, and then folded in on itself again. That's what they do with most denim. It's actually quite thin. Even leather is not what you think it is. That when you take all the lining and everything off, it's definitely use interfacing. Absolutely. Just like a suit. Do you know, I need to go get more of that stuff. When I started going downtown and I went crazy, when I started making a bunch of coats, I had professional suit lining and I lined a denim jacket in it and it looks great. I need to purchase like 20 yards of that stuff because it's perfect and it makes your clothes look classy because it is the exact lining that's in a suit. It's perfect. That's a good idea. I should really be writing these down. Do you know my son has officially turned my living room into a gym and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I remember that age. I remember that age. He walks around like this. Oh, oh. Let's see. Oh, it's letting me do that thing. YouTube lately hasn't been letting me do split screen. Let me check my notes. I was writing stuff down in front of my son's um MMA class because what? Nah, man, I'm just trying to read what I wrote. Sorry, Apple technology is it's crazy and they ask way too many questions. And now you see that I talk to my phone. Let's see. Okay, so I was sitting in a room of 11 adults. Is it me or is it weird that no one is speaking to each other? Is it me? I know I'm chatty. I know I am a chatty human. I am one of those people. You could put me in a room and I'll make friends. I will make friends willingly or not. I will. Hi, how are you doing? There have been so many things getting messed up with the apps on YouTube. I added a link to an Abby Cox video, and I think I got her last video demonetized for that. I'm not a mod there. You know what? The internet has completely bonked. StreamYards is not what it used to be. A lot of things are just completely falling by the wayside. And I'm not even saying that to be funny. It's just the way it is, I guess. That happened with Bernadette's Banner video too. I just think it's weird where I'm sitting in a room of people and no one's talking. It's the strangest thing. And when I walk in, I'm like, hey, Marty, how's it going? I've made friends with these people because we're going to be around each other every day. I think it's strange that people do not talk to each other anymore. I'm not supposed to be allowed to do that, but it should reject it right away. It's crazy to me how people do not speak to each other anymore. I mean, my phone's interesting, but when I'm out and about, like, I'm not all up on my phone. Maybe it's just a different world. Oh, I feel bad for it. I don't want to be down in the moment, but that's how it was with my mom. I'm driving and had to keep engaging her. I'm like that with people. I'm like, so it's so funny. I have developed this really weird thing of being like, so what else is going on? So what else? And I've even noticed it in myself that I'll say that to people like, what else you got? Because I can talk. And if not, I'm gonna engage you in a conversation, but it's gonna be me asking you a million questions. She would just sit there. Then she spent eclipse complaining about not being able to get a photo for randoms on social media. Oh, I know how that is. Do you know the one thing I refuse to do is make my son hold a camera? He is not involved in my YouTube channel because I don't want him to hate me. I just the other day we were going to a Goodwill and he's like, look, there were people filming a TikTok in the Jack in a Box by my house. Okay, I don't know who needs to hear this, but you look crazy. I don't care if you have a tripod, but when it's dad, mom, and kid, and they're doing the NSYNC dance at like 1 PM in a random Jack in a Box, you look crazy. I'm sorry, you look crazy. Then the ride back was her posting. Uh, uh, wow. I was eclipsed by social media. I'm that one geek who doesn't pull his phone out. Like when I go to my son's class, I bring a book. I recently bought a new Star Trek book that's about it's after the 5th movie but before the 6th movie. Man, I'm already on page like 75. I think many ruin their phones and cameras on the I'm wondering about that too. I'm definitely wondering about that too. Hey, how's it going, Butterfly? Great to see you. Just quick hi, my analysts won't stay up. Yay, great to see you. Hope Eclipse was fun for everyone that got to see it. I didn't, so don't feel bad if you didn't. I forgot about it until I went on Rashawn's channel and they were talking about it. I completely forgot. Oh. And today there were a few songs that I didn't know were covers that I discovered, but I just was like, oh, I didn't know that was a cover. But it's so funny because people traveled far. They did all these crazy things. Maybe I'm cynical. Maybe I'm a cynical human and I accept that. So I tried to look beyond myself. How was, what, Rashawn, that gets me too. When there was well, I'm not dating her anymore, so I can talk about it. I was dating this woman who every time we would go out to eat, she would be like, hold on, wait, and she would take pictures of our food. Let me tell you, when I go out to eat, I'm hungry. I've already demolished all the appetizers. I order appetizers because I'm perpetually hungry. And if you're making me wait, I struggle conversing with people that don't open conversations because I don't share interest with people. So until I know your temperament, it's hard for me to chat with folks. I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. I was raised by senior citizens, so I just assume everyone's offended. That is a very good point. I'm weirdly engaging, and most of the times people understand, people know what's going on, but people are very close nowadays. So you have to be able to gauge. I still, you know what? I still make friends at the fabric store. I make friends at thrift stores. I've said a few times, and I hope you're watching. There's a few people at a few Goodwills that call me when there's sewing machines there. I told one woman I wouldn't take her out again because her phone was her real date. Thank you. Thank you. It tripped me out. And you know what's so funny? On social media, we look like the happiest human beings on planet Earth, but in real life, I was miserable. Ah, good times. Good times. All right. So let me see. Let me see if I can find the shirt that I made. Do you know I make so much stuff? I have to slow myself down. While during the week, I have to tell myself, stop. Because when I watch somebody's Friday shows, they'll have like one or two makes. I have 3 to 5 on average that I make a week. I need to open up my own store. I'm supposed to pay to watch you and your phone data. No, that's for real. That's for real. And you're right, it is weird how people pose for randos. Again, I'm all about the experience. I'm more about the experience. Let's see what else. I'm trying to get the other stuff before I get to my Jncos. Let's see my book, my note. I'll look at my notes in a minute. I'm gonna grab my table and I'll start getting ready. You know what's funny? I'm gonna put these things on because I need to see where the seams are busted because I did a lot of hand sewing and using my machine. You don't know Jnco. So Jnco jeans were those big, huge jeans that people would wear in the 90s. Do you remember? They had unreal pockets. They were humongous. They were like they ended up as Raywear pants, but they didn't start out that way. They did not. And the funny thing is, the more and more I look up Jnco jeans, in Chicago, they were different than in LA, than in New York. Like wearing Jncos meant something different in every single city. They're the 90s version of bell bottoms. Okay, I think I'm picturing them. The reason I'm nostalgic for Jncos, and I say it every time, I dyed my hair blonde and changed my whole style for a woman. So lesson learned, do not play for, well, I was a kid, but lesson learned, do not play yourself. When bell bottoms come back from the 1970s, it's really weird to me because I see people wearing them everywhere. It's the strangest thing to me because before I go off too much about it, I was mad that the flat top came back when I was a bald old man. I'll say it. When I was younger, I had the perfect flat top. I had a flat top. I copied one of MC Hammer's background dancers. I had this weird Eiffel Tower thing going on. I copied Bobby Brown like 6 or 7 different times. So when the flat top came back, I was mad because I'm bald. So when Jncos came back, I was like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. But the entire leg was as wide as the bottom. Yes. That, as you can see, that's exactly what I did with this. And I used the bell bottom principle. I'm going to pull them down in a second, but that's exactly what I did with these jeans. Let me grab them. I think the bell bottoms and Jncos are coming back. Ah, almost fell. So I made sure to widen the leg. I really need to cut. There's still a ton of string on here. I really need to cut at this thing, but I made sure to make the leg as that's one leg. And that is extremely wide. Let me check the back here. I just didn't hit it with the serger. I like the look. I'm going to keep it. You know, one of the things I always say about sewing, it's kind of like woodworking. When you reach a certain point, if you can't fight it, feature it. If it's I can fix this with hand sewing, but like this, there's really nothing I can do about it. So I'm just going to rock these. But these are huge. I'm going to put them on in a second. Still to this day, they are my most searched video, is how to make Jnco jeans. I've made quite a few videos on how to make Jncos. And, you know, so between mini sewing machines and Jnco jeans, about once every 6 or 7 months, I make a video. Whoa. And I I had this ingenious idea of making a video in one day, but then it dawned on me how hard making jeans were. And it's not necessarily hard. It's just you have to pay attention. And there was quite a few moments where I had to go back because jean material is extremely thick, and I use domestic sewing machines like they're industrials. Oh, these are perfect. Let me put my belt on. I bought these a size or two bigger than usual because I knew that it would help out with the flare. Oh, man. And it's funny because they'll say, like, you'll see on a fashion blog or something, they'll say, oh, this style's coming back or that style's coming back. I actually see people wearing Jncos everywhere of all different ages. It's younger people, but the styles definitely come back. Oh. Awesome. Thank you for stopping by. I'll be around. Hit me up. I'm just now getting back to my Twitter. I've been kind of boycotting Twitter, but I'm definitely back on Twitter. Thank you for stopping by.
Hello, I made it. I had issues. Sorry about that. How are you doing? Hang on, let me get my phone out. What?
Keep going. Yay. Rashawn just took off.
Oh, did he? Sorry, Rashawn. I missed you. How are you doing, Alibaba? How are you doing, William? I also saw some other people. Oh, Butterfly dipped in and dipped back out. I heard while I was changing the shirt that I spilled tea on.
Oh, I know that feeling well. Oh, look at my pants. I'm not even. I don't even have shoes on.
Those are great. They came out well.
I've made 5 pairs. One was a complete disaster where I even showed a different pair on the video as a finished project.
Oh my goodness. Cheater.
So can I just tell you, when you watch YouTube videos, when somebody says something's easy, they have about 20 years of experience. Anytime you see someone say, oh, this is a 5-minute hack, it's because they've been doing it 1,000 times for the past 20 years.
Right. It takes 5 minutes just to line the fabric up sometimes.
Totally. I'm left-handed. The way I thread a sewing machine, people would be like, wow, how do you do that? You know? And I do it fast too. But I didn't acquire that skill just overnight.
Alibaba says those pants need platform shoes. I'm thinking you need some of those 1970s platform boots with those pants.
There's this store on Hollywood Boulevard that I can go to, and actually purchase. You can get any kind of shoe you could possibly think of with a heel on it. And they cater to people with big feet.
Nice.
I actually had a pair of weird, I called them my Matrix boots because they made me tall, but they had like fake metal. Well, it was metal, but they looked like Matrix boots, you know?
Huh.
Oh, I
I'm trying
miss
to think
them.
of what the Matrix boots look like.
They were, you know what? They kind of look like Fluvog boots just with metal. They were artsy fartsy boots.
Okay. Sounds right up my alley. Or street if you're from the UK.
Threading machines might also be a couple hundred machines to work on as well. I do, you know what? That's the true statement of the evening so far. I do have quite a few to work on. And quite a few sergers too. Only like 3.
So I heard, speaking of working on things, I heard Alibaba hoping earlier that he didn't get Abby Cox's video demonetized, and I wondered, um, she had gotten the manuals out and was trying out her old sewing machine feet and attachments and things. So made me think of working on machines and things.
I actually like these. I'm gonna hand sew some pieces on these, but I have some questions for you. The co-hostess with the mostest. And I put them in my notes while I was sitting in front of my son's MMA class. Why I would know this? I say that daily. I say that daily. All right, so. Oh, excuse me. All right, so where's my notes? You know what's really funny? It really bothers me that, like, my phone has not been allowing me to do that weird split screen thing. And now it is out of the blue.
Maybe there was a glitch with the update.
Okay. Because I'm a pirate. I you know, and I always imagine like I'm a pirate. I come in swashbuckling through Tortuga or something, and you're the librarian, and you're like, we're gonna save this library. So as a pirate, I have a question for you, the librarian of Tortuga.
Oh goodness.
Why? Well, I don't know. She got demonetized on the vid, but Bernadette she got dinged.
Why
It
would she
happens.
get dinged for your link?
Actually, that can't happen. Why do people not wear shoes anymore? Okay, and I want to preface this. I wear boots, and I have my work boots. Then I have like my cowboy boots. I have, you know what I'm saying. But my for as much as I dress like a pirate biker, I have very formal shoes.
Okay.
Oh, you're roboting.
Oh no. Just when it was getting good.
These are not even supposed to be allowed on those channels. Interesting. Do you know the rules have changed so much it's hard to gauge anymore. Alibaba, I don't even know anymore. The rules have they've changed so much. Yay. So I have a question for you. When did people stop wearing shoes? Because it's not that I think sneakers are not shoes, but when did people stop wearing dress shoes everywhere?
I don't know, but it's kind of disappointing that people wear, I mean, like some are very nice sneakers, but I would prefer like rather than the same kind of sneakers you wear to the gym, I would rather like some sort of more like elevated or interesting sneaker.
Because I dress
I
like a
think
hobo. Like, let's be really quickly. Hello, Toaster Pup. Hi, love your jeans. You remind me of my dad's friends growing up. Love your tutorials. You're so awesome. Keep it up. New subscriber here. Welcome.
nice.
Welcome. Awesome. What's up, Doski? How's it going? Welcome to the House of Sewing. This is DJ Dose. He's a great person. Welcome, welcome. Yeah,
Nice.
hello, hello.
Thanks for
Awesome.
joining in, everybody.
And thank you, Joseph. Thank you. Thank you. Um, it's weird because I wear nice shoes. with my with my Walmart jeans and t-shirt from 20 years ago.
I think it kind of goes along with the whole, some of the athleisure trends, and then also I think that people have this idea that if it's not made out of, you know, the same kind of pants you would make leggings or sweats out of or something, then it's not comfortable, or that they're perhaps, associating shoes as opposed to sneakers with maybe shoes they had as a youth that didn't fit very well, or because I think that it takes a little time, but regular shoes can be just as comfortable. The technology has improved. I think it's just kind of part of it is the relaxation of our dress styles, and then also I think it's people not knowing how to find clothes that fit and are therefore more comfortable. That's my speculation.
High end values allow high end sneakers, trainers, and the apparel that goes along with that stuff in London, England. That is true. It's different in the UK than it is in America, and like in Oregon, home of Nike. You look like someone thinks you're dressed up if you're in a full Nike suit. It's one of those things. Growing up, I went to a Catholic church. Okay, that sounds hardcore. It sounds brutal. Still to this day, it trips me. I think it's because of where I grew up in Southern California. People would wear board shorts to church. It is the most informal church I ever, and I grew up in this church, so I think it's more about the area. Like people. I was like my family. We were the ones dressed up. you know. Like the Ritz Carlton. So it just depends.
I think that there's something to be said for dressing up more. It changes how other people perceive you, and studies have shown that it actually changes how you perceive yourself. Your feelings of, like when you put something on that, you look good, and like it makes you feel good. And I think that we've forgotten a lot of that, and I
Do
think
you
that's
think that's
sad.
a do you think that's a generational thing? Because like I've told you, my grandfather um thought it was insane to not leave the house not wearing three pieces of clothing, and one was a suit jacket. He was always wearing a three-piece suit.
Mm-hmm.
But that was his generation.
Yeah.
I've had a hard time with dress shoes because of my wide feet. Most of my shoes are rounded or flat tip. I've always wanted pointed shoes, but not the clown look. Hey, I wear a size 13 and a half boot, and my boots are wide. I make sure that all my boots are wide for that very reason.
Yeah,
There's a
you do
lot
have.
of Oh,
Oh,
sorry, go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
You do have to get them wide enough for your feet. And then if you want a pointed toe, this is a lot of people something a lot of people get confused about. You're not actually like pointing your toes into the shoe. The pointy part is supposed to extend past your toes so that you're not being pinched. But if you already
Yeah,
have a
but
long
like
foot,
okay, yeah, then you end up looking like the court jester. I've had that problem my entire life because I've had size 12 shoes since I was like, I had a 12 since the time I was in the 6th grade. And you're not tall when you're in the 6th grade.
I don't know. Some kids sprout up. How tall were you in the? It can be, yeah. It's harder to get wider shoes. How tall were you in the 6th grade?
You know what's really funny? I went from 6th grade to 7th. I went from like 5'4" to 5'7".
Mm.
Growth spurts are like they're not for the weak of heart. You know, they're not. Growing pains are real. I grew. I remember growing. Like, what's going on? And I really didn't think about it until I went to school the next year, and I was taller than all my friends. You know. It was just one of those weird things because everybody walks up to me and they tell me, I love your boots. What do you do? And I don't have the heart to tell them, like, first off, these boots are ragged because I work on a ranch. Like, look at my boots. They're talking. I have to go get new ones. But I just take care of them. I shine them, I clean them. And so the bottom, the top of them look really nice. But it trips me out, And I guarantee you, my boots are probably the same price. Well, I wouldn't say they're cheaper than Nikes, but they're probably around the same price as some Jordans. Jordans are $120 something.
Yeah.
Boots on sale are $120.
And I think a lot of times people think, oh, I can't pull that off, or, oh, that's really nice, but I can't wear that, or, and I mean, sure, there are some styles that don't work so well with certain people's body types or what have you, but like you can totally pull that off. You can look nice. You can wear the fancy thing that you want to wear or the formal thing. And if you don't have occasion to wear it, then maybe you need to address that part of your life next. Go out more, have fun, dress up.
The other side of the screen would like to say it's okay to be a shut-in and still dress up at your house, because that's what I do.
Yes, I agree. I'm wearing a lovely wool sweater in my home right now.
I'm in love with these pants. I have to do another victory lap. You know what's so funny? I'm on day 4 of my man pride of not wearing a sling at my job. And like I'm walking around with a sprained wrist.
So you didn't take the day off, or the week off rather, so that you could let your wrist heal and not be tempted to lift heavy things?
Oh my gosh, let's look at the pants before I start singing Footloose. I've got this feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an eclipse story? Because I felt bad because I didn't.
Well, I mean, I knew it was just a partial, but I still wanted to go out and have a look at it. And I set an alarm, and it turns out I set it for the wrong time anyway. But I have been rather tired, which was part of my problem. So I slept instead of seeing the partial eclipse. I set the alarm and I accidentally fell back asleep. And I woke up long after it was over, and I said, "Oh dear." And then I looked to see when the next one was.
When's the next one?
Um, excuse me. California gets a 60% eclipse in 2025.
Oh, so that's next year.
Yeah.
In my head, I was like, how old will I be? No, because I always do that when they're like, oh, in 2037, I'm like, I start counting on my fingers like, oh man, how old will I be? Next total one is in 2044. What is it?
The next total one? Ah.
I really won't care then.
Did you see the total one that happened a few years ago?
Yes, because Isaiah was a youngster and his school did this thing, and I was the PTA mom. I was the room parent, one of them. I wasn't there all the time, but
When I was in school back in the day, they took us out to the desert to go see Halley's Comet.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we were old enough that if we saw that one, We may or may not be seeing the next one in 75 years.
Alexa, when's the next time that Haley's comet is going to be visible?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, the next predicted appearance of Halley's Comet is July 28, 2061.
That's 40. Nope.
2061. I will be, I mean, you know, I'll be an old lady, but it's possible.
If we
I
get
plan
our
on living a
stuff
long time.
together, world. Hey, let me give my Star Trek speech really quick. Everybody is anti Star Trek, but you know what? They got their stuff together and they started living longer because they stopped fighting each other and they figured out how to help each other. So I'm saying this just as a selfish thing. Stop fighting so I can live longer.
I plan on living a very long time, but
I would like to see the Northern Lights. I said that to my lovely co-host the other night when we were talking. That's on my bucket list of something I haven't seen.
yeah.
Have you?
I have not. It would be amazing. I was in Scotland for the solstice one night, and I was up, Northern Way, and I remember one of the hosts said, "Oh, it's not going to get dark tonight." And I'm like, "Really?" And I remember looking out the window in the middle of the night, and there was still that sort of like late evening kind of sun out. It was
I
kind
have
of
I have a question for my people in Oregon, like from Portland and like anything north of Portland. How come you guys never talk about that? Like no one ever talks about how in Seattle it'll be 10:30 at night and it's dusk. Like the sky's still blue, you know.
I
The people
remember
in the north never talk about that.
I remember calling my aunt and uncle's house, and I wanted to talk to my cousin, and it was summertime or thereabouts, and they said, "Oh, she's out bike riding." And it was like 9:30 at night, and it was dark here, but
We we get solstice like one time a year, right? Or something like that.
well, you have the summer solstice, which is long and long day, and then the winter solstice, which is a short day. Alibaba says, "I live in Canada. I have seen the best. Total sky swirling around in most of the rainbow colors. It was bright." That was 1980 to 1982. I lost my
Wow.
balance just looking up at it. Wow. That would be amazing.
Most of the time it was greenish lines coming up from the northern horizon and swirls of bit and ribbons. That's crazy.
Mm.
That's like the first time I saw like a swash of the Milky Way. Every time I drove to Vegas, I would pull over at the same spot to look up. And it's the strangest thing because when you're on the highway, you see the lights of the highway. But when you get off, it's just darkness. And as someone from the city, it's surreal to see where your place in the galaxy. Well, to see exactly where you are. It's crazy.
You forget. You forget how many stars are up there.
I think it's easy to forget,
Mhm.
because you got to pay taxes and rent and go to work every day. It's easy to forget.
Plus, if you live in a city, there's all kinds of light pollution, and you just don't see it.
Or if you
Only,
even live near one, like
hmm
if you're outside of Albuquerque, it's one of the most beautiful places on earth. If you look north, you see nothing. If you look south, you can see the city.
I don't know. I've been to Albuquerque. Nothing against the people who live there, but I don't know. I would not call it one of the most beautiful places on earth, but maybe I'm just
I'm a
biased.
desert dweller though. Like I said that about, like, I thought Vermont was beautiful, and then I went to Washington State, and they kind of look exactly the same. I'm not kidding you. I dare you to tell me that they're different.
It depends on which part you're in, right? Because if you're on one side of the mountains, it's all like rainforest, and if you're on the other side of the mountains, it's more desert, right?
True, but Vermont is as big as a minute. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking of the stereotypical rainforesty side of Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
Because we constantly talk about the differences. When I went to the South, everybody eats cornbread, everybody eats grits, everybody, like but we
Yeah,
constantly talk about the differences. And as somebody who was an outsider, it was strange to me to see everybody doing the exact same thing.
right. I was amazed when I heard about the stereotypes about chicken and watermelon, and I'm like, this is a thing? Everybody likes chicken and watermelon.
So I busted out 2 ridiculously large t-shirts. Let's see. Let's see. No, because I'm gonna film this for my video. I'm in love with these pants.
They
Let's
came
see.
out really well.
This one is 3X. And this one is 2X. Let's try on the 2X first.
And what are you doing with these mega shirts?
I was gonna cut the designs out, but I didn't get around to it.
Okay.
I used to if you look at my Twitter, I'm really into making abstract art out of clothes. That's why I look at denim like a piece of canvas.
Yeah.
That's why I used to love going up. I just kind of haven't been doing it lately, but I still buy stuff with the intention of cutting them up because these giant t-shirts, they come with all kinds of graphics and crazy things, and you'd be surprised what you can, incorporate into art.
I know you say you don't post much on your Twitter, but your Twitter feed is amazing. So much art.
Those pants did come out very well. Thank you, Alibaba. My last pants were a failure. I think that's why I'm doing a victory lap right now. And they're like, I want them above. I want them over my shoe. Phoenix and I used to always have the debate, like, should they be over your shoe or not? I want it to look like I'm floating. What are those things
Well,
from Harry Potter? The Reapers or whatever?
oh yeah, the Dementors.
There you go.
But Jncos are supposed to be over your shoe. They're supposed to like drag on the ground, aren't they? Or almost hit the ground.
Back in the day, they had different sizes. So you could get like Jncos that were kind of flared at the bottom, but still a decent pair of jeans.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you were talking about the length.
Yeah, I want them over my shoe.
Mm-hmm.
There's just that debate of should you do it or not. I want it to be over my shoe. I like that look. But my last pair that I went crazy designing them. I added all this stuff. And then when I was skating, I fell and I was laughing because I didn't break anything. And it's all fun and games until you hurt yourself. And the older I get, like, I'm not kidding you. This is my first real sprain. I've been through car accidents. I've been through all kinds of crazy stuff in my life. I don't even know how I did this. It was like 10 o'clock at night and I'm like, oh, this pain isn't going away. Recently, I said when I get stumped with a design, I get into a black milky, exactly, void of nothing. This is my biggest stumbling block with clothes, abstractish. Do you know what's really funny, Alibaba? I have that problem too. That's why I watch a lot of out of the box stuff. Modern day fashion is something to be desired. It's something that you really have to be into. I'm a 420 kind of guy. I watch modern fashion and I'm like, man, what are these guys smoking? Rick Owens is crazy. A lot of these people are insane, but like I constantly make fun of Balenciaga, but let's be real, they're the rich version of how I used to dress. Because all of my old clothes are just like what they're making now. But I went out and got some Sunshine and Friends. And I sat down and got help.
I'm sure they have a whole manifesto about their line of thinking and their message of things with their taking the everyday fashion and making it high-end fashion.
It's literally everything that I used to wear in the early 2000s when I was like traveling around in my rebellious phase. Because denim, it's good for traveling too. And it's funny how now they sell it back to you for $1 million. Kind of like pho. Do you know how there's pho restaurants? At least here in LA, there's Vietnamese restaurants everywhere.
Uh-huh.
In Vietnam, it's literally just soup.
Right.
But here it's like, oh, I've gone to the new pho restaurant. They're doing all this artsy fartsy stuff. Even like Mexican food. It's weird to me to go to a fancy Mexican restaurant and they're charging hundreds of dollars for tacos and burritos. Because in Mexico, it's cheap in Mexico. You know? Okay, this is the 3X. This thing is like a tent on me.
Yeah, that one's a little big.
Yeah, but I need something ridiculous for my video, you know?
Trying to start debate in the comments.
There's people that actually dress like this, so I shouldn't make fun of people too much.
Well,
I love
would
these
like
pants.
to see those people wear clothes that fit a little bit better.
These pants are so high. If I tucked them in, they'd make me look like I was from somewhere else.
Are they particularly high-waisted, or are you just pulling them up because they're so big, or what's the deal?
I bought these a size or two larger because I knew whenever I buy a pair of pants that's my size, because I like putting them on and they fit. But the problem is I get this weird tenting. I don't know what I'm doing. You know what's funny? Do you know what I did with these? Just guess. What did I do? I used another tool that I have in this room.
A seam ripper?
I ironed everything before I started sewing.
Oh, well, that's good. That'll make it go together better.
And so because I ironed everything, it came out perfect. And I'm even going to say in my video, I pinned everything on both sides. I came through, I was hand sewing and using my machine because I think last time I didn't say that. And one person was like, oh, I have tenting on my. So do I, brother. So do I. But see, this is the thing I've learned. And that video that I recently watched, I have to remember her name because I really need to give her a shout out. But it's real. There is a difference between your clothes looking professional and looking homemade. It's ironing. And there's many other steps in between, but ironing is a game changer.
Yep. That's what I've been saying.
I'll be here for a little bit, Alibaba. I know, but we're gonna have a segment of Water Days. I told you so. I'm coming out from the darkness a little bit.
Well, it wasn't even like that. Wasn't even. I mean, I agreed, and I had experienced the benefits of pressing, but I was passing along the words of wisdom from our elders, from those who have come before.
They had so much less distractions in their life. The radio worked with you. I've got the internet cable.
Well,
my phones are dinging and banging all over the place. ESPN will not leave me alone.
You would still be feeling pretty distracted back in the day if you had 8 televisions and 4 radios all going and putting the CB at the same time.
I would be living like what's his name's character in Back to the Future?
Doc Brown.
I would be living like Doc Brown. I would have an antenna on my roof and everything. I'm so shocked how these came out. These are perfect.
Yeah, they
And
look
every
really
time
good.
I'm gonna so I left the camera on and there is an entire half an hour where I didn't know the camera was on. And it's weirdly telling of is home ironing a lost craft. I really have not used my iron in a while. I think it is. Dose. I think it is. I think that one of the things, one of the reasons why people don't iron anymore is because it's a chore. I was I was raised in an old school traditional way. I ironed everything. And
Even t-shirts look so much
yes,
better when you iron them.
yes. And my grandma was gangster. She would iron her sheets. She would iron she'd iron everything. If it was cloth, she'd iron it. So I kind of come from that era. And my mom hated ironing, but my dad was military. So he loved ironing.
I find ironing kind of meditative.
I don't know. I go back and forth. I think it is kind of a lost art, like Doe said. But again, it goes back to what I was saying about shoes. Do people really get dressed up? And I'm not judging. I dress like, sons of sewing over here. I'm not judging anyone. I dress like a cross between Willie Nelson's illegitimate child, Fred Sanford, because I'm rocking the denim and flannel combo all day long. It definitely is one of those things. I don't think people iron, but when you sew, you iron all the time. And I was reluctant because the older I get, it's just one of those things. It's like, ugh, but it makes all my clothes look perfect.
And it makes it easier to deal with the process too. It makes the fabric more cooperative, as well as improving your end result.
Man, progress, schmrogress is all I gotta say. I like my old school pirate way. Let's make a coat in an hour and a half, wrinkled on sight, wrinkled on arrival. That's the new name of my ska band, is Wrinkled on Arrival.
I think a lot of people think, oh, I'll just iron it when I'm done. But the trouble with that is the fabric isn't laying right.
Yep.
And then you just stack problem on top of problem because you sew things together on stuff that's wonky, or you're trying to sew over seams and the fabric isn't pressed from the last seam and goes the wrong direction.
I had something else. Welcome back, Alibaba. I had something else in my notes, but I didn't realize I was going to fall in love with my pants. How do you feel about 9 to 10 adults being in the same room but not talking until I walk in?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people are introverted and shy and not trying to get up on people's business. However,
I'm talking about the weather. I'm
I
not
was-
even getting in people's business. I'm just chatty.
well, like not trying to disturb someone's peace, but I do agree with what you were saying earlier about people not chatting and not having conversation because they're so focused on people who aren't even there.
You just can't say the world's a horrible place if you don't participate in it. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's one of those horrible things when people say, like, you can't complain if you don't vote. Like, you can't be like, oh, those people are weird if you don't find out.
People won't even be there, and then like they're not even online at the time, and instead of interacting with people and enjoying physical company and physical society, you're off in another world.
Ironing even sets the stitches while you're making it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've been even using my press for certain things because I can just let it sit there for a minute and cook. This shirt is for two of me. This shirt is so
It's pretty big. So what are you going to do with that one?
I was gonna cut the design out and put it on the back of a flannel, and then I always end up recycling the material because I use it for lining, for
Yeah.
hoods, for all kinds of stuff. I actually recycled just pounds and pounds and pounds of t-shirt material. And then in a weird conversation I was having with somebody, they were like, "How much do you have?" And I was like, "I have a couple 55-gallon bags." They bought it off of me
Wow.
for so much money that I went back and rewashed everything. And even told them, "No, you are paying me a good amount of money for this. You're gonna get a quality product from me." No, like, because I smoke, so my stuff smells like this room. So I was like, "Nah, like it's gonna smell like laundry detergent because you're paying me by the pound for this."
Yeah.
Even at the weird bale place where you can buy hundreds and hundreds of pounds of denim, they wash it. They'll unbale it and wash it, because you don't even know what you're giving to somebody. You have to check it.
Yeah.
I'm
Good.
sure there's a law. I'm sure there's a law though. Because every time I think someone's really virtuous, they're like, "Oh, this is the law." So that means
Well,
it's there because somebody was janky and didn't do it before,
sometimes we need the extra push of legislation.
Could wear a backpack underneath that shirt for real. This is the kind of shirt you wear with a sweatshirt on top. It's been a long time since I've worn. I was probably my son's age last time I wore a combo like this.
I don't know. When you try to put something over a shirt that's so baggy, I find it just gets all runched up and it ends up not being very comfortable.
It depends on how big it is. I am wearing 2 layers underneath this. Like, this is a humongous shirt. Spatial perception is real because my camera is not doing justice. First off, these pants are completely flared at the bottom. They're huge.
Did you measure how big is the hem on those, the opening?
I didn't because I was too busy making my tutorial, and the more I was cutting the pieces, they were getting lower and lower, and I was like, uh-oh, I might have to make a bell-bottom video, but they came out as Jncos. So my Jnco video is still going to stand. They sure could use some legislation enforcement with some of the factories I've been shown. Bangladesh, Pakistan have some different work ethics and rules.
Horrifying.
When I first that was like one of my weird missions when I came back 2 years ago, a year ago, was one of the reasons I make all my own stuff is to stop that as much as I can,
And it's not even just like different places have different standards or different costs of living or different desires. Like there's something very like basic human rights about making sure people have food breaks and bathroom breaks and can get out in the case of a fire and are in a building that's not going to collapse on them. Those are basic universal requirements.
But because you and I have both traveled and we come with our Western sense, it's different in other countries. And I'm not justifying anything, but they have different rules than we do.
I am saying that should be something that applies everywhere.
I agree.
Food, bathroom, egress, and a building that's not going to collapse.
The workers fight the change made to help them. Cast metal and paintings, use of ocean machines with no respirator or even a light mask. And that's another thing. Imagine making furry coats all day. You would be breathing that stuff at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Even the woman at Joann's, she looked at me and she's like, "You obviously work with this material a lot." And she's like, "I'm going to show you something." She pulled a vacuum out from under her her table and was vacuuming as she was cutting. Because that's how messy. She's like, look, she's like, I'm old. Like, she's like, this stuff gets in my lungs.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think that, the companies make it seem like, oh, if they have to do a safety regulation, then it's going to make it so that they can't pay the employees. And that's just another kind of abuse. And it's they're putting pressure on the employees, and instead of just being responsible and taking care of things, and that's wrong.
Would have saved the worker wear and tear plus. Oh, would have saved the worker wear and tear plus make much better product.
Yeah.
That's another thing that would always drive me crazy, especially with this whole Temu and all of this stuff. Not only is it made in these countries, but it's filling our landfills, and most of it was sold at the 99-cent store that's going under right now. I'm still kind of mad about that, but it tripped me out how they had clothes at the 99-cent store all of a sudden. My Captain video that I constantly thank people for still being here after I made that terrible video almost 3 years ago. Everything that I purchased from the 99-cent store was made in Bangladesh. And I purchased all of it for $1 each.
Clothing?
Yes, a Captain and something else. It's still in my closet. I saw it. It's hung up with everything else in a place of honor. And it's a 99-cent store Captain that I bought.
Scary.
Because I wanted to show people. It's when I was trying to make these comprehensive videos that no one watched. But I was trying to show people like all that work that's going on, all this destruction that's going on, and it's being sold for like 99 cents, literally.
Yeah.
And Temu is doing the same thing, just with a new name.
Yep.
And because I'm and you know what's so funny? It's Chisme season. All the Chisme shows have come back. But it's weird. If you're a fashion designer and you get hit up by Temu, what's that other company? Wayfair, and there's something else. They all have slave clothing. So although they're like, oh, Sheen will put their name on anybody who's a designer. And you design the clothes, but then they have slaves making your clothes. I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that to be I'm saying that, I'm saying that to drive a point. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop buying that stuff because it's slaves who are making those clothes. It's crazy. I watched a documentary how they're burning trash in the Gobi Desert. I'm sorry, they're burning clothes. And you can Google it because you can see it from space.
Yeah. And then the fibers of those clothes, because we make so much out of synthetic fibers, we have problems with, toxic smoke. And
it is Sheen Dosky. It is Sheen. It's crazy. And because I talked about this too when I on my great comeback. I wanted a brother Juki, all these machines, and we've had this conversation a million times, but they're all slave machines. Because anytime these places get busted, what do they have? Brother sewing machines, Juki. They don't care,
But those are pretty standard machines for industrial.
Oh man, this shirt's huge.
Industrial sewing. That's like saying, oh, I went to this farm and they had a John Deere.
I know that maybe I don't know. I just was so disappointed when I saw the machine I wanted was in a bust. It was years ago. That's what inspired that video years ago when I first started making sewing videos. So only sewing videos. Because I used to work near this. There's a company called American Apparel. And their whole thing was taking over sweatshops and basically applying everyday rules to these sweatshops, and they were successful because their clothes are everywhere, but they
Yeah.
gave people a living wage at the time,
Yeah.
and I was able to walk in the factory and everything. It's crazy to see 300 sewing machines in the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's a surreal experience.
Or when you see like the old dressmaker garment factories and all the lined up old singers in the photographs and illustrations.
That's why I am gonna ask Mr. Modelo if he has a key to the factory, because where he is at, they're trying to sell that building, but I wouldn't live in downtown Los Angeles if you paid me. And I used to live in downtown LA. I lived in LA. I lived in MacArthur Park. I lived on Hoover Street. I lived all over LA, and I lived in downtown for over a year and a half. And as an adult, I would not live, even with all the gentrification going on, I wouldn't live down there. Can you research the making of your clothing like we do food? Like where made, where, etc. So it depends on the company, but usually it will all trace back to a certain country depending on, where it's made. So if it's Italian made, everything you run is going to be all Italian items.
And you can do some research. I mean, in some cases it takes some digging, but yes, you can research. Like it'll say the country of origin, and you can look up like where they do their thing, and you can find out about their factories. And some of it is harder to search than others, but
I
um
think that's the thing too, is you have to know who owns who, because everything is a subsidiary that thereof.
mhm.
So even though it might be this particular business, who owns them?
But a lot
Well,
of times you
oh,
can
sorry. Go ahead.
a lot of times you can just start with the tag, and it'll say made in such and such a country of materials from this other country.
True.
And that's a good place to start.
I never really thought about that. Like, but I've noticed. Well, I look at the tag because lately, like, they've been having a crazy sale at Ross where they're selling Levi's coats for $12.99, 13, 14.99. So I may not have purchased one or two.
Oh goodness.
But one was made in Bangladesh and the other one was made in Pakistan. That seems like a lot of work when you're trying to buy a hoodie, but not from slave drivers. And here's the problem. I think they're all kind of slave drivers. I hate to quote Jane Fonda, but there are more slaves now than in the height of the Atlantic slave trade. And I know it's because of population, but there are more enslaved people now than, well, I guess it is because of population.
Well, it is different though. Let's not confuse the two kinds of slavery. They're separate issues.
That's my whole beef with clothes, though. That's
Yeah.
one of the reasons I started making my own clothes in general, because the more I looked into it, no matter what angle I went down, somebody along the way was being exploited.
You can start by kind of researching, looking at Dosukai's question or comment. You can like start by researching companies, and you'll quickly find like companies that have a better reputation than others. So if something is like well known to be terrible, a company is well known to be terrible, then that's a little more obvious and you don't have to do that much digging. So that's a good way to kind of start out.
There's many kinds of slavery. Roman slaves could even be very powerful.
Yeah.
I know there's levels to it, but I say that just to be controversial and drive the point home, really.
I think too, we need to normalize we need to normalize like not having 40,000 bazillion pieces of clothing, or not rushing out to purchase a new something for every event or
To be
everything that you're
fair,
going to.
because I feel like you're putting me on Front Street because I'm the person you're talking about.
Well, but
I
it's
I buy
different because,
everything secondhand.
I mean, for you, it's your hobby and your creative process, and that's a different situation than the people who are like, oh, I have to go get a new dress for this, or I have to go get a new outfit for that, or like, I don't know. I think that I'm not saying that there's something wrong with following trends, but I think that if you do your whole wardrobe in a trend, then it quickly becomes so outdated that if you want to seem relevant, you have to go and buy more clothes. And so
That I agree. Well, there's two sides to that. Like, one of the reasons that I stay stuck in my ways is because I knew someone 30 years ago that dressed like I do, and they were like in their 60s and they never stopped wearing their battle vest.
and I think that there's a difference between I think between being relevant and being fashionable and being trendy, you know? Like,
Really quickly, DJ Dose, I recently bought the entire works of Alf, and I didn't realize the cartoon was on there, and Project Alf, which was their series finale, which was terrible. But anyways, that cartoon was right around my era. I forgot I watched this as a child. So having it on is a total trip to me. It brings me back to an era that doesn't exist anymore. And I didn't even realize I didn't I think sometimes we look at time as moments and it never stops. But for us it does because we're like, "Oh, I remember that moment," and we go back in that moment, you know. So Alf is a good time capsule for me. I had an Alf puppet when I was young. I wanted to be the next Jim Henson. I loved did you ever watch Farscape? I loved that show. I know my lovely co-host watched that show as well. But Jim Henson was actually a hero of mine as well. I love people who create in general. I haven't gotten around to making a puppet yet. I actually have an entire form in here of how to make a puppet, but I have yet to go. I have yet to do that. I'll be right back. That is an admirable goal. That is. Ugh. I'm gonna throw a vest on. Oh, these pants are huge. Because this is an election year, I am tuning out. I haven't really been on Facebook. I've kind of been avoiding my Twitter. I'm gonna go back on my Twitter because it's picking back up. But I find things to immerse myself in while I'm sewing. So I have Alf. I was talking about how I hadn't seen The Matrix, so I went and bought the entire works. I hadn't seen the fourth one. I've seen all of them 1,000 times. I recently purchased I would buy one if you did. I would buy one if you did. Oh, thank you. I recently purchased Megan. I'd never seen that movie, but I heard people talk about it so much. And it was everything I thought it was. But the thing about being at the house is you can stop the movie, you can take a million smoke breaks. So I love being at the house and watching movies. But because even pre-pandemic, I really wasn't going to the movies anymore. So it's good to watch them at the house. Oh man. I'm trying to think. There's been a ton. I have more questions from my friend. I wrote down a bunch of stuff. I never go to the theater anymore. It became one of those weird things where pre-pandemic it was the price. Do you know at the Arc like theater in Hollywood, tickets were $35. I wanted my son to experience the dome. I wanted him to go see a movie, looking in the chat while I go, get the steak out of my fangs. We are vampires who stay up all night. I was shocked on just to go see a movie with two people was over $100 between the popcorn and everything else. And that was Hollywood. When I started going more in the city, man, movies were unreal. So it was almost better to buy them. And with modern TVs and everything, we basically do have home theaters. But after the pandemic, now everything is released. So a movie will be out for like a month. Back in the day when a movie would come out, you wouldn't hear about it for 6 or 7 months. So I don't know if I love, like, or dislike how it is now. Oh, I do have a question for Renee when she comes back. I completely forgot about that. Let's see. Why does no one wear shoes, sneakers? Do you think it's because of where I live? Like, everybody wears slides now and Crocs and all of these things. Do you think it's because it's fair weather? Do people wear Crocs on the East Coast? I'm curious now. I am extremely curious because where I live, people are rocking slides, Crocs, anything in that realm. It's weird to me. It's weird. But again, I wear boots. And I do because of my job, it spilled into my life. Even my work boots, you know what it is? Let's be real. My boots make me tall. So I have love with the improvement that boots have brought in my life. But it's weird to me that people wear sandals everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. And I live about 35, 40 miles from the beach. So it's not like, I'm right on the beach. It's a good drive to the beach. Because I've been all over the place. I didn't see people wearing slides up north. Let's see what else. I definitely need a new project because I believe 7 yards of that really dark denim. I'm thinking about making overalls again. I've because I've been streaming on the Critically Drinking channel and watching all these old music videos. I was watching a Belle Biv DeVoe video, the Thought It Was Me video, and I think it was Bobby had on overall shorts. And I was like, you know what? I can make the but it brought me back to the 90s of the crazy combos that we used to wear back in the day. There are sandals, and then there are sandals. Again, I try not to judge because I'm looking at people like, bro, you walked out of the house like that. But again, like, who am I? I dress like a vampire familiar. Like, who am I? I wear denim every day. More to take the bus or subway. It's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy to me. Oh, man. And again, I live in a place where it's extremely hot. Maybe it's me. But I think it's weird that people wear slides everywhere. I definitely need new shows to watch. I've been purging everything and getting all the all the old Cheese shows out, bringing in the new ones. I'm subscribed to a million different sewists, but there are certain people where I'm like, okay, I don't watch you. I don't watch this. I don't even support what you're doing anymore. So I've really had to go through and unsub. And there's a lot of people that have stopped making content. Like Rashawn said earlier, like there's people that have just stopped, I feel like I should make that hood, but we're like an hour and 45 into it. I have to find that shirt. There is a giant pile. I don't have the table out, so I won't oopsie shame myself too hard. But that pile of fabric grows and grows. And that's my pile of everything I'm working on at the moment. So I have to like slowly figure out what to do with a lot of this stuff. And then I'll make a t-shirt and put it on top. And I think it's fabric, but really it's the finished project. So I have to find the other one. I think it's over there. Let's see if we can finish something here. Even though these pants are amazing. Uh, I was thinking about something. Even when you make your own clothes, you do not know who manufactured the fabric or where it came from, unless you really do your research to find out where each roll came from. So it's hard to avoid that process of somebody being exploited. It's sad but true. This shirt came out perfect. Part of me thinks I should just edge everything with the serger and like not mess with a good thing. But I kind of, I went off with my Starfleet shirt, but let's be real. How many shirts have I put a hood on? Just at this point, how many hooded shirts have I made lately?
857.
If we had a jar and it was a contest of how many shirts did Sewing made, you'd probably win. It'd be close. In my closet, I have a pile of all the makes just this year, and it's starting to grow towards my grandfather clock.
I really like that fabric though. It reminds me of malachite. It looks like a psychedelic 60s artistic rendition of malachite.
That's why I love. That's why I hate the drive, but I love going down to see Modelo Man. But I'm just not a fan of the drive.
Yeah, it's a ways.
And plus, down and now I don't even want to go anywhere else except for to see Modelo Man because no one will give me the prices that he does.
He does hook you up. Seriously.
And I'm telling you, we always talk about, this person, that person. This man literally snorted and clapped when he saw me. He was so happy. You can't fake that. Man, I was like, you know what? I'll take that. He was so happy to see me. He literally snorted. You can't fake that reaction. I feel like I've neglected Modelo Man.
Well, give him time to miss you.
For real. Because I've purchased let's look. I want to look and see. Hold on, let me see if I have any more questions. The case. That's something I'll say off stream. I don't think I should in case someone's listening because I do wear patches that say my so-called life. Come to my YouTube channel. I am a walking, talking advertisement with my rockers on. Let's see. Oh, please explain thread count to me like I'm 5.
Okay. Well, fabric is pretty marvelous, and it is made with a bunch of fabric, a bunch of threads going this way, and then a bunch of threads going the other way. And then the threads are like woven together. And so thread count tells you how many of those threads there are in a square inch of fabric. The higher the thread count, the more threads and the more like tightly woven the fabric is. It tends to be better quality. However, like you don't always want something that's super tightly woven. But so like you might have a linen, for example, that's maybe like a heavier thread, and you can, when you look at it, you can see a lot of space in between. That would be a lower thread count, but that's done that way, intentionally for the look. Whereas if you have, for example, think about some of the like handkerchief fabric from way back in the day, or like a really old tablecloth, and it's super, super thin, but even when you hold it up in the light, you can't really see space in there because there are so many threads that are in the inch. It's got a really high thread count, and it just makes a really nice quality fabric. But the fabric itself, how it feels, depends on the kind of threads that are used and whether they're big or small. Or a lot of times for sheets, for example, you want sheets with a high thread count because they wear better. And it makes a lot of times if you have a high thread count, it can make the fabric like more supple. The way it moves is really nice.
Do you know what's really funny? Alibaba's comment is reminding me of all those Egyptian tapestries I found in my grandmother's house.
Mm-hmm.
The color still pops. Here, I'll grab one. The one I put on my jacket has to be from they traveled in the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah.
They took cruise ships everywhere around. My grandparents. But this is from either 60s or 70s Egypt.
Yeah.
Look how colorful that still is.
Delightful. Have you ever had anyone tell you what it says?
No, because I don't want to know it says buy this, dumb American, or
My friend went to Londinium and all I got was this stylus.
My grandmother was a real tourist. Like, they went to Russia, so she bought the big furry hats and the jackets. Like, she was looking for the stereotype in every place she went to. Every place. Thank you, Dose. Thank you. I thought it was so funny story. My parents had one of those on the wall at their house. And my mom came to me one day and she's like, I'm over the Egyptian motif. You can have anything you want. I took everything. So I had it in the frame still. I thought it was this like rare Egyptian thing. I thought it was a painting because it was in a frame. When I was going through my grandmother's linen closet, the famous linen closet, it says made in Bangladesh. My grandmother had 7 of them. So if anyone in my family's watching and they think I've lost my brains and put that on a coat, I have 7 more. I laughed so hard that day. Literally, probably that night, because I've had that Sean John jacket since 1997. I ran home and put it on that jacket. I ran home and put it on that jacket because I was like, in my family, we always looked at it as this rare thing because it was on the wall and you don't touch anything in the house. Nobody's that curious because back in my day, kids were taught boundaries. So I was never that curious. When I found out it was one of those tourist trap things that my grandma purchased, I laughed so hard when I found that.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my grandma loved that touristy stuff. So I have all kinds of, I have my grandfather's coat they bought in Russia. I have all kinds of stuff. He wanted to go everywhere that he, like, because he was in World War II, he wanted to stand in Red Square. He wanted, like he went to Italy. He went back to Italy. He went because he was in Bastogne. He went to Bastogne.
Mm.
So they traveled around the world.
Yeah.
But just like an A team where BA refused to fly after World War II, my grandfather never went in a plane again.
Wow.
Never.
See,
He go ahead.
I would think ships would be just as traumatizing given all the, sea battles and all of that.
He was in the 101st.
Hmm. I guess he didn't do many sea battles. But maybe he was got caught up in one when he was trying to get from point A to point B.
I made the mistake of asking him one day, and he told me the truth because they used to speak to kids in plain English back then. He told me exactly why he didn't fly. His plane was shot and down. Like he basically, as he was jumping out of the plane, it blew up.
Oh goodness.
And things like that live with you because my grandfather wasn't a violent guy. So things like that live with you forever.
I had some friends and I was visiting them, and they had a bunch of people come over because they all wanted to watch, I can't remember the name of it, but that documentary that came out about World War II, and they were interviewing all the veterans and talking about their experience. And that wasn't really anything that I wanted to watch, but I was there when it came on, and they were talking about flying, I guess it was for D-Day, and jumping out of the planes, and they talked about seeing their comrades and their friends, you're stuck, you're descending down to the place, and you're hoping you don't get shot along the way, and just seeing people get shot in the air and was so traumatic. I went out to my vehicle and I called my mom, and I was just like sobbing. Like, I love these people. They're getting shot down.
Oh, it's
It was
hard to
awful.
watch.
Awful. I wish I had never seen it. Like,
Then you should never watch a Tuskegee Airmen documentary because it's more sad than good.
no.
I've been on a few cruises myself, Dose. A few.
Mm.
If I wasn't scared of getting sick, I miss the food.
Yeah. I would enjoy something like, a vintage cruise ship, or like one of the small ones. There was an academic cruise around the Black Sea that intrigued me, but I get so incredibly seasick, it's probably not going to happen.
My grandfather rarely told stories, but just like my father, the older he got, the more stories he started telling. And my dad, he would repeat his stories. And there was one time, I can't even repeat the story, but we all looked at each other. We're like, have you ever heard that story? I think he gave away some government secrets, not knowing.
No.
Because out of all the stories, he was old. And we're like, wait a minute, he's never told that story before. It's very true. I've met people that saw stuff like that.
Yeah.
My cruises are funny though, because the other day my son was like, I've never held a tiger. I was like, what? Yeah, you have. And I showed him a picture of him holding a tiger.
One of the little tiger cubs.
It's funny because even they told my ex-wife, don't show fear because this thing will come at you, and it did. I grabbed that thing. I was like, come here. They have the river cruises, but the prices are crazy high.
Yeah.
I know somebody who started cruising after COVID because they had unreal low prices because nobody was cruising at the time.
Yeah.
I've had World War I vets tell me stuff they never spoke of before. Some were in the 80s and 90s. Have you ever gone on a river cruise?
No. That's something that would interest me more than like a carnival cruise to Mazatlan or something. But the I get so very seasick. But I've heard like the little patch thingy works well. Um, so I don't know, maybe I'll try that on a boat ride to Catalina or something and see if it would help. But
It's further. Do you know what's really funny? Catalina is further than you think. When you get on
yeah.
that boat, it's a lot further than like you can see the island from the, you can see it from the shore. It feels like you can reach out and touch it. When you get on the boat, you're like, man, we've been on this boat for a half an hour. Like it's further than you think. It's a trip. And I was 12 years old. Oh, whoops. I've been on the Rhine River cruise. Was nice, cheap, and lots of wine. When I went on, I've gone on the really she bougie cruises, but when I went on the Carnival cruise, it was me and the ice cream machine.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, I had to have gained like 4 or 5. I gained some serious weight. I had ice cream for breakfast. I was like a little kid. And they had a soft serve machine. You could scoop it out yourself. Like it was nuts. It was
Wow.
nuts. They had yogurt. They had they had everything. And I don't even like yogurt, but if you make it soft serve, I'll eat it. Do you know how shocked I was when you told me that penguins was yogurt?
I mean, it was literally on their sign. Penguins frozen yogurt.
Yeah, but like, you know, I'm a little behind you. So when you had your hair to the side in the ponytail, I was still a little grommet like this,
No,
literally like this.
probably the adults in your life just asked if you wanted to go get ice cream and they didn't tell you.
Let me tell you, if it tastes like, if it's leaded and it tastes like chocolate, I'm there. Are you kidding me? Is this leaded? Oh my, of course. Because as an adult, I can't stand yogurt. The funny thing is, but I swear it's all mental. It's a mental thing.
How can you? It's like nature's pudding.
Do you know what's funny? I will eat that combination right now. Soft serve ice cream and cornflakes is a gift.
I have never tried it.
Guy Fieri got a burger booth on a carnival that is good. Oh, I was actually impressed. A lot of people haven't had good reviews for Carnival. I was impressed. I went on a weekend booze cruise. We went to Mexico. I had the time of my life, and I didn't even really drink. I was just eating and hanging out the whole time. And like a sad American, I bought a bunch of inhalers. And because I used to smoke cigarettes back then, when the duty-free shop opened, you should have seen our faces when cartons were like 15, 20 bucks. Because even back then they were expensive.
Huh.
I've never had any of his restaurant food. I don't know if it was because of diners, drive-ins, and I can't say it, but I went to the first Heart Attack Grill in Arizona, and I went to the second one in Vegas, which is still there, which trips me out all these years later.
Oh, I didn't know that Heart Attack Grill was a Guy Fieri establishment.
Well, it wasn't, but he discovered the original in Arizona because they had such an out of the world concept. And it wasn't until that show came out that it got popular because people like me came all the way from California to drive to Arizona, even though I used to live in Arizona, so I knew exactly where it was. And I have family there, but like, it's the young person cruise. Yeah. I went with my ex-wife and my kid, and we discovered real quick we were the only one there with a kid. but we had a good time. I had a good time. I did the adult thing. I got a massage, like a real one where I couldn't walk after. Oh, I felt like I was floating the entire time when I was walking down the hallway. I was like, I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing. I've been to quite a few places, but it's because like if any of those shows come near LA, I'm going to the place. You know, when all the fever dies down, I go to that place. Like I'll tell you, I didn't like um Robert Trejo's tacos.
Hmm.
And I'm not they were kind of gross. I'm not the only person to
Really?
say that either.
Wait. Danny Trejo, the one who always plays
Yes,
the reprobates?
machete.
Okay.
Wasn't a fan of his restaurant. And you know, let's be real, the first one I went to was vegan. I'm a carnivore. I wasn't impressed because the crowd I was with were like, these are great. And I was like, these shouldn't even be called tacos. In the second place I went to, they served meat. It was more near SC, more in the city. I went to a football game. Long story short, I didn't like it. I think it's because they're serving this to people who drink alcohol. But again, um, I don't know. I just didn't like it. So not everything you see on TV is a winner. And watch now, I'm gonna get punched by a 70-year-old man.
But also, different people have different tastes and different expectations. I mean, I remember when I was in Albuquerque, I had some like burrito place kind of restaurant, but all of the all of the food there was like southwestern, so
Absolutely.
it had a whole different vibe than what I was used to, and I'm like, wait, this isn't right.
You know what's funny? Arizona was like that, and I kind of fell in love with it. I like black beans on everything. I kind of fell in love with that. It is very much, I'll tell you, when I went to the East Coast, I couldn't believe that everything was a sandwich. We don't do that on the West Coast like that. You can find anything on a piece of rye on the East Coast. Anything. They'll put a tire on a piece of rye for you. It's not like that around here.
I
We
had
have
a
a
friend. I had a friend who used to like to go to a deli, and he would get pastrami, cream cheese, and olives. And he's like, you have to find a real deli to do this.
you
Fake
think
delis don't have the stuff.
they would put you on probation if you asked for that here.
I should have grabbed a blanket. I'm a little cold.
And people are gonna make fun of us, but it's been dipping down to the 30s. It's been the temperature has not been kind. They were not
Also,
playing. Sorry, go ahead.
just agreeing. In California, we tend to keep our houses colder in the winter than a lot of East Coast places.
I have a fan on behind me. But again, like I'm a desert dweller, so I think I just have an elevated body temperature.
I saw some, and you'll see it a lot. Like you talk to people, and it's the dead of winter, and they're wearing shorts in the house or short sleeves, and it's like it's winter. Why are you not wearing warm pants and a sweater? Gonna need a peppermint with that combo.
True.
Yes, some floss, maybe a gargle.
I'm gonna call out Portland, Oregon for that. When I lived there, I think people were trying to show off, but it would be pouring down, torrential downpour. People are wearing shorts. They would say, "Oh, that's a local." To me, that's asking for pneumonia. I would be in the hospital if I would, like, literally in the hospital. That is just take me straight to the I can't breathe ward.
I see two
Crazy.
problems too, because you're out and about, and then you go indoors somewhere, and you're in all your cold weather clothes, and then you're sweltering inside. And then also, like, just thinking of the heating bill. I don't know.
Much like in
Does-
Arizona, where the when and okay, this my reference is from 1999, 2000, 2001. But when I lived in Arizona, your air conditioned bill was factored into your rent. So
Mm,
you could run your air 24 hours a day and your heater because
mm,
a lot of people don't know this, but it also gets extremely cold in Arizona as well.
mm.
So but my reference is from 20 years ago. Gosh, 24. I'm old. Oh,
Alibaba.
now I'm craving pastrami. When I was in my 20s, I had pastrami. I swear no one had ever introduced it to me. When I met pastrami, I went crazy. I went crazy. It's probably why I won't live long.
I don't know Montreal smoked meat, Alibaba. I don't know the particulars of that. But rye, dill on the side, mustard, that sounds amazing. 65 in Indiana in the winter. See, now that makes sense because you go out and you're in your, long sleeves and your sweaters and things, and then you come inside. You don't want to have to change to shorts and a tank top. You just want to take your overcoat off. I say like we haven't just been discussing people who live in sweats. Overcoat? What?
I have allowed my son to he's of a certain age, so I let him do man of the house stuff. Like he sets the heater, he said certain things because I go in there to sleep and cut patterns. And he lives in that house. And my bill hasn't gone up too much, but electricity bill has my bill has consistently been so much that I have been walking around like, turn those lights off. What, like, man, I thought it was a fluke month, but because of me constantly pulling power and having to run the heater, I've had 3 consistent months of having over $250 to $300 electric bill.
Ooh. Do you think part of your cost comes with the kind of lights you have in your sewing garage?
I think I'm also have reached that like punish rate where they're like, oh, you want to start pulling power? Okay.
Mm,
Buy our stuff or we're just gonna charge you this unreal amount every month.
maybe you need to install a wind turbine.
Can I just make one with a bike where I just go and like go to my backyard? I need cardio anyways, badly. I need cardio badly.
Montreal smoked meat is similar to pastrami. Well, that sounds
Oh,
amazing.
oh. Tomorrow I'm gonna go get a pastrami. They've really closed down a lot of the places. Like like I'm not kidding you. LA, my side of LA has become like Demolition Man. Do you remember that line in Demolition Man when Sandra Bullock looks at Sylvester Stallone and she says, "We're gonna go to Taco Bell tonight," and he's like, "Taco Bell?" She's like, "Yeah, Taco Bell is every restaurant. They won the burger war." They have certain options around here. I
Uh,
only so all those good pastrami places have disappeared. All of them. Even Togo's, like we used to have a couple in my town. Now there's only one, and it's like on the far side. And it's not facing like where I live. I drive into LA. So that particular side of town is way in the mountains. You need a Sherpa, a horse, and a guide to go over there.
I forgot about Togo's. I haven't been there in a while.
I worked at one in North Hollywood, one across the street from SC. Shout out to LA. I worked at quite a few when I was younger. I worked at a Togo's Baskin Robbins combo.
Mm.
Now I'm craving pastrami. That's where I developed my pastrami habit.
Now I want ice cream.
Do they sell it anywhere else besides Montreal? Oh, see, yeah, I'm craving it too. Dose, I'm craving it too.
I wonder if there are maybe other, excuse me, if there are other delis in the east, kind of closer to Montreal, that sell it.
You know what though? I'm not trying to get too Al Bundy on you, but like when I went to Wisconsin, I fell in love with stinky cheesecake. That's made from like Gouda, Limburger. Like you really have to be into cheese to eat this stuff. If you can order it online in the modern era and they'll ship it to your house frozen, packed in ice, whatever they have to do, you know.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
if you find something like my town is weird. They do not sell Cheetos makes a popcorn. It's called Chester's cheese popcorn. I'm obsessed with it. It's bad for you. You will not live long if you eat it. They sell it all over LA, all over LA County. For some reason they do not sell it in my town. I
Weird.
have no I think it's a bougie thing. I really do. But I went online and I ordered it. I got a box like I worked at Vaughn's or something. I got a whole box of it, you know, like the actual Frito-Lay box that you get from the store.
You take after your dad, start buying things by the gross again.
But I ate so much of it, I played it out.
Ooh.
And then for my birthday, like I bought a box for my birthday and I saw this giant box and I was like, uh-oh. And my mom was like, look what I got you. I was like, uh-oh. I was eating that stuff for 3 months. So I have to wait a year to eat that stuff because I played it out heavy. I think it's mostly a Canadian thing. I guarantee you could probably find it though. If you found the actual company, you could probably find you probably get it mailed to your house.
To Montreal, but not to Toronto. Quite local. Interesting.
Because before they started selling like all the Mexican candies, they sold them in the store now. When I was a kid, you could only really get them from the ice cream man. And when the internet era came around, people started ordering them online, you know, from the actual manufacturer. Are you into sweet and sour candy like that?
No.
You're not a spicy person, huh?
I'm not a sour person.
I see you because you are truly a Care Bear. I'm sour. I'm bitter and sweet at the same time, and sour and all.
Even when I was a little kid, a bunch of kids would love like sucking on lemons and stuff. And, you know, I tried it as all kids do, but it wasn't anything I ever really got behind.
Oh man, those Jncos are warm pants. Dunn's Deli does ship, but I don't think outside of Canada. I've always wondered about stuff like that. If they would use natural dyes in our food, we could live longer. That's real. That's one of the reasons I have to stop with a lot of stuff. Like I'm addicted to Powerade. The blue Powerade is my drink. I buy the case too. Every time I go to Smart and Final, I buy the case. Which reminds me, I need like 9 cases of water and some Powerade.
That's too much Powerade. Don't do it. If you have it on hand, you'll drink it. Some stuff you just can't let in the house.
Oh man. When you do come to my house, you're gonna be like, what is wrong with you? When you see all the
Are you not dead?
For real. And you're gonna say, I didn't know you could put that in a burrito.
Oh goodness.
I had leftover Chinese food and I put it in a burrito, and my son shamed me. He's like, really?
Well, isn't there a Chinese dish that like comes up? Oh, but it's a different kind of tortilla. It's like a salt, like a pancake.
Orange chicken and rice tasted amazing in my giant burritos that I had. Sorry, it tasted amazing.
It's just a portable vessel. You know, you were saving on plates. I'm saving on washing plates.
This is real though. This is real. We would live
Hmm.
longer.
And
Do
our
you know,
clothes and everything else that we handle.
I need you to shame me for something. Do you think I'm hooked on that Chinese place? I keep in mind I have to drive to this place. Like it's not in my town.
Hmm.
I have to get on 2 freeways to go to this place. Regardless of how long it takes me to get there, the time that's irrelevant. Excuse me, but I'm hooked on this Chinese place. And there's these thrift stores that I started going to that are way on the other side. But on the way home, one of the freeways may or may not direct me straight to the other freeway. Matter of fact, from that place, I had to take 3 freeways to get there.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with going out of your way for something that you enjoy, but how often are you going there?
Once a weekend and twice a weekend. Because I'll go like, no, I go once a weekend.
That might not be the most healthy eating option for you.
I'm eating white rice.
But a lot of times in places like that, you know, things are like fried and a lot of oil and not the best oil. And so that was
Yes,
what.
because that's what makes everything taste good. Yes, yes. I'm old school. I grew up with people that cooked with lard, people that barbecued with big sneakers on. So I'm addicted to that place. And then I try to justify it like I want to go on this side of town so I don't go near this place. And I ended up back there because I was like, oh, the freeway is right here.
It's like your car had a mind of its own.
I drove over an hour for food before. Thank you, Dose. Thank you. And another thing, Panda Express has lost its mind. You
Oh,
don't get proper portions. Their prices are unreal.
hmm.
This place didn't get the memo. I think it's because they're packed. And it's the neighborhood too, because it's the hood, but their prices are like affordable. Their combo A is $8 and their combo B is like $9.99.
Mm.
And it's some of the greatest Chinese. I had to tell my son, like, we can't be picky here. When you walk up to the counter, tell him what you want, you know. But I've fallen in love with this place. I drove to Arizona for the Heart Attack Grill, Oh, poutine. You know what's so funny? Unpopular opinion, I'm not a fan.
I haven't been there or tried it, but the name kind of puts me off.
It's fried cheese curds.
No. I mean, I haven't tried poutine, but no, that just sounds dirty. But no, I was talking about the heart attack grill. That name puts me off.
I'm telling you, if you weigh over 300 pounds, you eat for free.
Oh, yeah. See, if I weigh over 300 pounds, that's not something I want to announce to all and sundry.
And they weigh you.
Oh, no.
They have
No.
at Heart Attack Grill, they have the same weight, they have the same scale that we have at my job, and mine it's used to weigh units. And if you
Mm.
weigh a certain amount, it won't even register your weight because it's meant for like 200 over.
Mm.
Oh, the Heart Attack Grill is unreal. Oh, now Dose wants poutine. Are you so you're not a fried cheese fan?
Well, I mean, sometimes it depends on, I mean, like I've had raclette and, you know, a mozzarella stick or what have you. So it depends.
I'm
Some of
weird.
it,
I
yeah.
liked it. I didn't like it, but I like stinky cheesecake. I like queso seco, which is the Hispanic version of Limburger, you know? Like we're all weird.
I like cheese. I don't care for goat cheese, which I know to a lot of people is heresy. Um, I just can't with the goat cheese, but other cheese I like.
My friend went to the Heart Attack Grill. He weighed in at 412 pounds.
Oh,
They put lard in their milkshakes. They put lard in their I went with somebody who went to Le Cordon Bleu. And so the whole time we're sitting there, they're like, this place is disgusting. And they literally didn't. I'm eating and they're not. And they're looking at the menu. And I ordered a milkshake. And she was like, William, they put lard in their milkshake. I was like, I want a large, please. It was an experience. And you know what? I was breathing heavy after I went there. The
Ew.
second time, the first time, we got a bunch of food and I only ate half and then I finished it. But when I went to Vegas, I went full vacation mode.
Mm. I can't eat all that. I can't eat that much at once.
I'm obsessed with feta, Alibaba. I'm obsessed with that. I haven't tasted a cheese I don't like yet. Cottage might be on my bottom. I'm the same. Like poutine was I think it was the presentation to me, but it's okay. I've had this conversation with my lovely co-host a million times. I'm not a fan of the English breakfast. I would be if it came with dividers.
And yet you eat nachos.
Not the same, not even in the same school. Not even they don't even know each other.
And salad. You eat salad.
Obsessively, that it borderline's not a salad, just a vessel to hold stuff. I love a big salad. I'll go crazy with a big salad.
Well, next time you go traveling to a place with B&Bs, you just need to bring a couple, like maybe like those melamines so that they don't break in transit, that have the little dividers on there, and have them put it each in the different compartments for you. Just, we all have our foibles, so.
I don't want to be that person. I've worked every kind of service job you could think of. I don't want to be that person because they talk about you. And if you think they don't, they do.
Well, but I'm talking about like not at a restaurant, but at a little B&B that's a little more, kind of mom and pop, then they might be happy to accommodate your weird divided plate.
If you pulled that out in a pub in Scotland, they would laugh at you.
Well, yeah, don't do that. Unless you want a razzing.
I'm just, I think it's the whole picky American thing. I don't know. But I like except for if you took the tomato out, because I don't know why you're doing all those mean things to a tomato. You should just leave it alone. But anyways, I'll eat everything on the English breakfast. I'm just not a fan of how together everything, and that is the togetherness I do not want to participate in.
Well, it's not that's not a picky American thing. That's a some people have issues and sensitivities.
My go-to Domino's pizza order is Philly steak, spinach, feta cheese with Alfredo sauce.
That's not pizza. That's flatbread.
I'm gonna try that. I have to write all of that down. I love pizza with Alfredo sauce because I'm actually allergic to tomatoes. So I eat all kinds of pizzas with Alfredo sauce. And I asked recently and I couldn't believe they did it. They changed the name of a pizza. They used to call it the White Knight. And I asked the guy, like, what's the point of this? And he changed it. It's a local pizza shop that's been there as long as I can remember. I know the owner. He's my age. He inherited the business from his dad. And he flat out said, like, my dad named it. I don't know. And they changed the name of the pizza.
Mm.
They should have named it The Sewing Complains. The Sewing is a Karen pizza.
Or just the Karen.
I'll take it. I'll take it. That sounds good. I'm obsessed with Alfredo sauce on pizza. Obsessed. Oh, see, now I'm craving pizza.
Oh, Dosukoi's got fighting words in the chat.
I'm from the Chicago area, so we obviously have the best pizza.
Oh.
Okay. We have now reached the food fight portion of the evening. I've been to Chicago. I've had their pizza. It is superior to many places. But I went to New York and they claim the same thing.
Uh-huh. I think it just depends on how bready you like your pizza.
I like it super bready.
I like a thin crust, so
I need it to be so much bread that I could feed a family of 4 after with my crust. I like my pizza so I can't say that line. I like thick pizza.
not like the ultra thin, but just, more on the thinner side.
You would love the pizza that my son has. The pizza place by my house, they'll make you anything, but my son orders thin pizza with thick crust. So it's the best of both worlds.
Okay.
I prefer a good. Growing up, we had this place. It was an Italian deli, and this woman was from Chicago. Not knowing, being ignorant, we didn't know we were eating Chicago style pizza our whole lives. Because I'm telling you, Waternay, it tasted homemade, and because I don't know, like. Because grandma really was in the kitchen, it was the best stuff in this town. And they recently went under. People were crying in the parking lot.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah. Or flatbread. I love both. Get one slice and you're done. And that's the thing. I miss that. Like just a super chubby piece of pizza. Oh, see, now I'm craving something that I can't get on this side of town. Everything's like California is very health conscious, and so everything's kind of flatbready on my side of town. You have to like tell them I want a deep dish, and it's just not the same.
I'm gonna grab my blanket. I'll be back in 2 shakes.
All
Keep
right.
talking. I can hear you.
No, I'm sitting here missing a place that doesn't exist anymore. Oh, excuse me. Because of the plague and everything else, a lot of the mom and pop businesses around here have completely gone under. And so, Taco Bell won. So we're stuck with all the chain restaurants now, and we really don't have the good mom and pop places like we used to.
That's sad.
Matter of fact, the Chinese place by my house, that is a little bit expensive, but they did lower their prices because of COVID. They're one of the last businesses left on this side of town that's been here for over 40 years.
Wow.
Oh, the donut shop. Because the pizza shop's only going on like 30.
Oh, see, now I want baked goods.
I'm craving
baked
Alfredo
goods.
pizza. We haven't gone off about food in a long time. We've actually been staying on course. I'm glad that we did. We needed a day off. I've been sewing so much. I tell myself, like, take a break, bro. Take a break. Because I'll sit down and I'm like, oh, what am I gonna make next? And I'm like, you need to make a seatbelt for this chair.
What are you gonna make next? You still haven't worn the last thing you made.
I tell them I don't care about my health. Feed me, Seymour. Absolutely. By the way, I saw that at the Pantages. It was amazing.
Oh wow.
They had this giant freaking it was amazing. It was amazing. I'm the same way. I can't really say who I want. I can't say whose name I can't be because that person is super canceled. But like, I love hoagies. I'm addicted to a pastrami, like on a giant roll. But at my age, I really can't eat like that anymore. There's this thing called high blood pressure. French dip, all of that. Like that, I was hooked on stuff like that. And I had to stop eating like that because I would eat like that every day.
Does your medication give you high blood pressure, or does it do your health conditions? Is it just your health conditions?
My asthma medication makes me hungry. And so because I was raised by wolves, I lean towards like anything that's made with anything that's fried. I'm a fried food kind of guy.
Mm.
I love that's why I like Vallarta, because they make all their beans with lard. Their rice is real Spanish rice. Like whenever I order nachos, I gain weight. I gain weight from that place. Like it's real food. They, and you know what? Maybe, because we constantly talk about nutrition. Maybe I didn't have the best examples because my son is like, who taught you this? And I'm like, your grandmother, and you like her. And you know what? My mom still eats like that, and she's in her 70s, and she's okay.
Well, I don't know. Part of it too is portions, and then part of it is genetics. Some people deal with certain eating regimens better than others. Like my geneticist, I was trying to ask him what I should eat, and he said to me, "Well, keto probably doesn't do much for you." I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like he didn't say it was bad, but I'm not going to get the health benefits that a lot of people do. Or for example, I saw a video talking about the annual physical in Japan, and apparently Japanese people get all of the obesity related health issues at a much lower weight than say Americans do.
Interesting. So it's the same problem, just in a different way.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, because we are constantly harped on and made fun of, but like, I'm not trying to point any fingers. UK, I've been to your country and seen what you guys look like. Mexico, Canada. We all look alike. We all look alike. We all have that look. We are Generation X. We basically raised and fed ourselves while parents worked. So true. So true. I was very much so a latchkey kid. And because of the age disparity between my brothers and sisters, when they graduated high school, I was just entering the junior high school system. So I was alone through that entire experience. So I
Mm.
truly was a latchkey kid coming home to an empty house.
Mm. I was fortunate. I am at that point. My grandmother was living with us, and so even though my mom worked, my grandmother was there. Hello.
Hey, Native Atheist, how's it going? How's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hope everything is well. Awesome. Awesome. I I grew up in a giant family, but because of how much younger I am than everyone else, everyone was aged out by the time I came around.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what? And it's funny because it was sink or swim. That's how I know how to cook, do laundry. Like I learned, it was survival. I learned that's why I love salads. At a young, that era is when I started making those ridiculous salads, like that are unhealthy. I looked up to Chef Boyardee.
You know how to
How's
use the
it going?
can opener without cutting yourself?
I don't wag a finger at that too much. I recently tasted some Chef Boyardee, and it's not as bad as I thought it was. How's it going? No one told us what not to eat. I ate everything I could. Same. And that goes back to my habits now because it trips me out because my son is always like he's he's very conscious about his health. And when I was his age, man, everything was nacho fries, chili fries. Is there nacho cheese on my salad? Like I need a chili dog. I still kind of eat like that. Sometimes I cut myself.
Oh no.
I eat Chef Boyardee straight out of the can.
Like a rebel.
Absolutely. Accidents happen when you're in a rush to get into the after school cartoon. I that's why I give a disclaimer in the beginning of this show. Please do not follow my eating habits. I eat horrible. I don't know why I look the way I do. I think it's because of my health conditions. The only reason I'm skinny ish. Well, actually, I'm like at my age, I'm in my quail stage where
Your
no.
quail stage?
Yeah, you have skinny legs and you're just perched everywhere
Oh.
up where you literally look like a quail. Now I'm craving nacho salad. But when I was a kid, I started off with certain things. And the funny thing is, at first I was nervous when my son started cooking, but I was like, wait a minute, I was the same age, if not younger, when I started doing the same thing. You know, and it's so different though, because my parents didn't care. My parents, I'm like looking around the corner, making sure he turned off the burner. I even got a Chef Boyardee cookbook.
Wow.
You
Wait,
know what?
isn't that kind of
Oh, go ahead.
isn't that kind of, I mean, I thought the whole point of Chef Boyardee was that you didn't have to cook. So doesn't that kind of go against the whole ethos of the company?
I've gone crazy with actually my son has taught me how to make ramen kind of shishi.
Mm.
He gets crazy. He cracks an egg. He puts he fries a piece of bacon because I told him like ramen's gross. He's like, eat this. And it was actually really good. I started cooking with eggs first. Same. That's another thing. My go-to is a bacon and egg sandwich. Like how is that is tested throughout time as a go-to. Chef Warrior D went when Ed everyone wanted everyone to eat good but cheap. What was the first thing you learned to cook? I'm the youngest of a tribe of humans, and when I was a kid, my mom snapped one day and she lined everybody up and she was like, okay, I know you know. She looked at all the older people. She's like, I know you know how to cook. She's like, prove to me you know how to cook an egg. And I did. And she literally never made breakfast again. So the first thing I ever made was an egg. And the funny thing is, breakfast is my favorite meal. I'm one of those weird people that I can eat breakfast any time of day. It's like a hobbit. That's why when I lived in Arizona, I felt lied to because in California, like we don't have Waffle Houses like they do from Arizona all the way to Georgia. They have Waffle Houses everywhere. The big yellow sign Waffle House. They don't sell that sauce anymore, though. Oh, that's sad.
How come? I wonder why. Maybe when people think of spaghetti sauce, they think of a jar. They should put it in a jar, see if that changes things.
You know what? Like at this stage in my life, I now understand what my mom was going through. Like as a parent, when someone doesn't appreciate you, it makes you angry. And she was tired of her ungrateful children, and we still are ungrateful. And she has done a lot for all of us still. Oh, but I'll never forget that day because I was the youngest, and she lined us all up and was like, "Oh, he knows how to cook." I quit. And from that day forward, I woke up every day and made my own breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
It's life lessons, though. You know, you gotta. Sometimes the birds gotta fly. You know. Even though I am the the Waffle Houses in California, I thought they had everything. We do, but not the yellow sign Waffle House. Like we have IHOP, we have Denim, but it just doesn't hit the same like the yellow sign Waffle House. I was shocked, and I'm not kidding you. Like it's everywhere else except for California, at least from the southwest to the southeast. The Waffle Houses are all throughout the 10. They're all across the 10 freeway. And I've been to Oklahoma. They have the yellow sign Waffle House in Oklahoma. Like, oh,
Yeah, we don't even have them called by another name like Carl's Jr.'s and Hardee's. Carl's Jr. and Hardee's are the same restaurant. We don't have like Pancake House or something that's actually the Waffle House, but just a different name.
and you know what? I like it's one of those things. I think it's because I didn't grow up near one. I think they're really good. A lot of people are like, "Are you crazy?" But there's people who think Denny's are good, and I'm like, it's mid, you know. But I think it's because, you know, there are Church's Chicken in LA. I had never grew up near one. When I lived in Arizona, there was Church's Chicken everywhere. I liked it. When I came to LA, I ate it and I didn't like it. It tasted different to me, you know?
I'm trying to think if I've had Church's Chicken. I think I must have, but I've never been to Waffle House.
Because sadly, California doesn't have the yellow side. They don't have them in Chicago either. Good to know. Good to know. We have Denny's and IHOP, man. But
IHOP used to be good, but
IHOP changed though. They have burgers and stuff. My son and I, we go there, man. The one by my house, I hope it doesn't close. It's really weird. They're only open from like 7 in the morning till 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And they've been like that since the plague.
they used to be 24 hours, but I don't know if my taste changed or if the restaurant did. I don't know.
They changed their whole format though. Denny's did too, because Denny's was bomb. When I lived in the heart of LA, MacArthur Park, Hoover Street, when I was working near SC, which is LA, Denny's was amazing, you know, but it's just maybe it's like I always say, maybe it's more environment because 20 something years ago, I was a child. And I say that I was in my 20s, but like my taste buds were way different back then. It's not like I'm eating frittatas every day or something, you know, but they used to have a Waffle House here, but they closed shop over 3 decades ago now. It's one of those strange things. And it's also supply and demand. There's a place called Iron Skillet, which is basically the Oregon version of Denny's. They're all over the 5 freeway. But you wouldn't know that unless you traveled up and down Northern California and Southern Oregon, you know? Oh, they're in Washington, I think. I don't even know anymore. A lot of my references are from 25 years ago.
I finally stopped asking people who were going to San Francisco if they were going to go to Pizza Inferno because I realized that I hadn't been there since like, I don't know, 1995 or something like that. And the restaurant probably wasn't there anymore.
I did the cliche thing where I had White Castle on the East Coast and I didn't like it.
Yeah, I've never had White Castle.
You didn't even buy like the mini frozen ones. You can buy them at the store because White Castle's everywhere now.
That does not appeal to me in the least. That sounds terrible, frankly. Who knows? Maybe I'm missing out, but the concept puts me right off.
No, you're actually here to class the place up. I'm glad you said that. You're on brand. You're on brand. My son started eating these weird Jimmy Dean's breakfast sandwiches. It reminds me of the White Castle ones that you can get from the store. They're gross, but he likes them. He's 14. You know, he's a kid. He has the metabolism.
Some stuff is better in person. You know, maybe White Castle is delightful at the restaurant, but frozen White Castle just sounds awful.
They started selling it in mass on the West Coast. I noticed, you know, I noticed certain things like in Oregon they have Dutch Brothers coffee. You will not see that in California. I have a bunch of Dutch Brother cups. on the other side of my toolbox in here. When anyone walks by, they're like, "When's the last time you've been to Oregon?" Because they see my cups, you know. Yeah, they're gross. But recently, my son bought, and I kind of knew this it was gonna happen because it's just good stuff. But I have a Keurig that I don't use, and my son's really got into the Keurig, and he got McDonald's coffee. I'm not kidding you. It tastes like McDonald's coffee. They have something. This is an actual hit. Like their coffee actually tastes good. But again, I don't know if it's more environment and less taste. But it
I
tastes
don't know.
identical to, but again, McDonald's has their own coffee. They have their own island probably somewhere where people are being oppressed.
I'm trying to think if I've ever had McDonald's coffee. I don't know that I have.
I'm a 4 a.m. kind of guy, so like if they're open, I've had their coffee. It's better than you would think.
Huh.
And I've even heard like because I'm a non-snob. So like if it's let it, I'll drink it as far as coffee. I really do not put my nose up to a lot of things. Like, I love shishi cheese, but if you give me a slice of that Kraft American stuff, I'll eat it.
Oh no.
I'm not bougie. I'm not bougie.
No. If you're gonna talk like that, I'm gonna have to go.
But that coffee was actually really good. I don't like Mickey D's coffee.
Are you a Tim Hortons man?
I was gonna say the exact same thing. If I go to a White Castle with a sausage, egg, and cheese on toast or bun, the burgers will give you the Hershey squirts.
Oh dear.
Oh, that reminds me. Something terrible happened today when I was at my son's MMA class. I have a closet Jack in the Box habit. I go to Jack in the Box now 3 to 4 to 5 times a week. Well, I only go to my son's class 4 times a week because, anyways. But so I eat Jack in the Box too much, and I've really been weaning myself off. And today I was hungry, so I walked over there, and they've had French toast sticks lately. And they discontinued. They were so good. It was just like pancake sticks. They were so good. They discontinued it. And the young lady behind the counter was like, "Hey, I got you though. We have biscuits." And then you hear the wah 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 noise because if you put buttermilk in anything, I'll eat it. I'm obsessed with buttermilk biscuits. I grew up with my dad's from the South. Are you kidding me? Like I'm obsessed with buttermilk biscuits. So I'm gonna gain 15 pounds. I'm not kidding you. When I stopped eating Carl's Jr.'s biscuits, I lost weight.
Mm-hmm.
Noticeably. They burned me because they started making nasty ones, and so I just stopped going, and I literally lost weight.
The trouble with stuff like that is you just can't eat it on the regular.
But it's buttermilk.
Yeah, but I mean, like you go to
I've driven past, I have never been to a Cracker Barrel. I've seen them in the wild.
See, the only Cracker Barrel, I didn't know until recently that Cracker Barrel was a restaurant. I just knew it as the place to get like nuts and little wrapped cheeses and things and crackers.
No, we don't have them here. We don't have them in California, do we? Alexa, is there a Cracker Barrel in California?
I found a few options. There's Cracker Barrel Old Country Store, 331.2 miles away.
Alexa, thank you for not doxing me.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
There is one 320 something miles from my house. Which shocking will still be in California. That's funny. So it's definitely NorCal, definitely Northern California. Buttermilk biscuits. Here we go. Sift the flour and roll the dough. Bomb. I'm obsessed with them. That
I
and
make
white gravy. Like, man, we're not meant to be on this earth forever.
I make my own buttermilk biscuits,
Oh,
but even then, can't be making biscuits all the time.
this whole conversation is why I gained 50 pounds during COVID out of pure panic weight. It was a solid 52. Solid
Mm.
50 pounds. Probably 60. If I really tell the truth. Because I was making biscuits. I was making gravy with like cutting the sauce, cooking the sauce, just cutting it, putting it in it. Like I was making cakes.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Rashawn's back.
Hey, Rashawn. We're talking food. We haven't had a good food talk in a long time, though. It's been a while since we've discussed food across North America because Alibaba's here. Alibaba's got all of Canada covered. But seriously, I need an intervention with Jack in the Box. Like, I need a serious intervention because they have buttermilk biscuits.
You need to put yourself a little sign on your steering wheel that says "No Jack in the Box." You don't want Jack in the Box.
I actually had a sign on my steering wheel that said the prison food tastes terrible. Because it was to remind me to not road rage, or I'd look at that sign and I wouldn't even, like, people would saying horrible things. I'd just look at that sign like, I just keep driving. Food must have been what I was smelling. Oh.
I'm smelling paint a little bit. I let this cure in the garage for 2 days. But look, I painted my safety yellow toolbox and I painted it this charming purple color. Don't look too closely. I dropped it when I was hanging it up and I scratched it. So now I have to see if I can get a little bit of paint out of the can.
I would have never known. You know what's funny? I would have never known that you painted that. That's perfect. You did a professional job on that.
Why, thank you. Don't look too closely, but it's good enough for a toolbox. And it's not construction yellow anymore. So I'm excited.
You got to do what I do whenever I have a major mistake on a piece of clothing. I just stand way back on the camera and don't mention it.
The lid. I don't know if Alibaba, I am experimenting. It is paint that said it could go on plastic. So we'll see what happens.
I agree with those. And I know a guy that may or may not hoard clear coat. I clear coat everything. It makes it look really professional and nice, especially if you give it a good clear coat and you don't overcake it. It looks beautiful.
According to this paint, a clear coat is not required, but that might not be a bad idea. However, I don't know. I really want to get the stuff off of the floor.
No, it looks nice.
Overflowing the other box. So
listen, I'm a pirate. I'm a pirate. I'm a professional pirate around here.
I'm not sure how important it is to me to put a clear coat on at this time.
Oh, now I have Pass the Peas by James Brown stuck in my head because we've been talking about food this entire time.
Peas? I don't think I know that song. Well, maybe it's one of those
gonna have maybe that's from the famous Ohio Players. That's when Fred goes bow, 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 bow. See, we're gonna have a 3-hour conversation after this. I'm gonna play some songs for you.
It's probably one of those where you know the song, you just have no idea that it's called Pass the Peas.
Oh, it makes you hungry. The reason I bring it up is because, like, I found a bunch of packages of cornbread in my cabinets. I have a cornbread problem where, like, it's such a convenient thing to eat, where I would make cornbread and I would put it next to my coffee maker. So I'd get up in the morning and eat cornbread while I'm, drinking coffee.
There is a cookbook from the 1970s and it's by Anna Thomas. and it's called the Vegetarian Epicure. And every recipe in there is amazing. There's a recipe for cornbread, so good. There's a recipe, it's called simple breakfast pancakes, although it's a little deceptive because you have to make a meringue out of the egg whites, but it's totally worth it. Best pancakes ever. Highly recommend it. And you can roast a chicken on the side.
I was quiet for a minute because I was like, that is the most un-Californian thing about me is I'm a meat eater. A lot of people are healthy. Where I live is very stereotypical where people are extremely healthy here. I am not one of them.
You should be. Join the club. That's what all the cool kids are.
I did not have a veg cookbook. Don't know why that would be missing from my shelf. Alibaba and I are trying to be nice to you.
Well, okay.
I'm giving you a hard
When
time.
my mom got me that cookbook for Christmas, she gave it to me at the same time that she gave me the chicken breast cookbook because she didn't want me thinking that, she was trying to influence me or something. But, like cook a steak or roast a chicken or something and have that along with these recipes from the cookbook. It's really, really good cookbook.
Or you
highly
can
recommend.
come over to old Uncle Soling's house and I'll flash fry a chicken for you.
Excellent.
In 5 seconds.
You flash fry the chicken and then we'll make other side dishes from the Vegetarian Epicure. Excuse me. Think of it as, okay, would it be better? I'll cross off Vegetarian Epicure and I'll put side dish Epicure.
You know what though? I lived with someone who was Salvadoranian, and for all intent and purposes, they basically were vegetarians. They ate a lot of plantains. They ate a lot of fruits and vegetables. They ate very little meat. But it was more of a cultural thing and less than like I'm a vegetarian. But I told him one day, I was like, "You guys are vegetarian."
There's a recipe for popovers in that cookbook. So good. Telling you, go get that cookbook. If you like to cook, get that cookbook. You will not regret it.
Or come over to old Uncle Cleophas's and I got beef ribs on the grill.
You can have both. You have to eat something with your beef ribs.
Yeah.
More beef ribs? Is that what you're
Barbecue
thinking?
sauce doesn't count as a side or what? Okay. It's different. Like I grew up around meat eaters. My grandfather, they were grillers. My father was a barbecuer. I have 2 barbecues at my house right now. One is like everyday use, and the other is break out the charcoals and the memories, and we're gonna hang out for a while. And one is mounted. One I built in place on the side of my house because it had to be mounted to hold large animals. So I'm a meat eater.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with being a meat eater. But you're not like solely a carnivore, so you can have something from the Vegetarian Epicure with your meat.
See, Alibaba and I went to the same school.
No plantains for Alibaba?
Not a fan. I'm just not a fan. But again, I grew up around people that eat them. Like, I don't have a problem with things like that, but it's just not my thing. And the funny thing is, I'll eat it, but I love bananas. If you fry it, I'm running.
Dang it.
Yes, I have 2 barbecues, charcoal and propane, absolutely, and a smoker. I went through this hardcore smoker phase, and what ruined me is I smoked a duck, and it wasn't. It was gross, and so I never smoked after that. Daffy did me wrong.
I told you about my ex-boyfriend and friend back in the day who tried to barbecue a duck, and it they had a rotisserie attachment for the barbecue and it caught fire.
I was about to say ducks are the greasiest things on earth. They're They're what you think a pig is. They are so greasy. Ducks are so greasy.
Okay.
I
Now I
didn't
don't
know.
know. I don't know if this is because I didn't put a clear coat on as recommended, um, or if it's just because it just couldn't handle the paint on the plastic. But putting the handle on chipped my paint right here.
Is that on the top or the bottom?
It's on the top.
Do you have a black permanent marker?
Well, it's like purple. So I might try I might just what I was going to do is take the last of the paint and spray it out into like a lid or something and just do some touch up.
That's an excellent idea.
So,
Because I was going to give you if you lived any closer. I have this really odd collection of every color of Sharpie you could possibly think of.
yeah.
I don't even know why. My son brings it up all the time. He's like, "You're so weird. Why do you have all these Sharpies?" I tell him the truth. I don't know why. But I have every color Sharpie you could possibly think of. The gold, I use the gold and silver though for writing on steel.
Ah. I would use the gold and silver for like Christmas gifts and things. I seem to have lost a lid. I mean a hinge.
Oh,
A latch. There we
my
go.
son graduated today in the school of life.
Oh,
We
okay.
left the house, we were in the truck, and he starts freaking out. And I'm like, all right, we're in the driveway. And he's like, I'm like, what's up? And he's like, I lost my wallet. I can't find my wallet. He goes in the house. He tore his room apart. I look at him. I said, look, are they gonna let you on campus without your wallet? He said, yeah. I said, all right, let's go. And I looked at him and I said, I guarantee you'll find it in your backpack. We get in the truck. I turn the truck on and he found it in his backpack.
My friend one time was talking to her mom on the phone and she was trying to leave the house to go somewhere, and she's like scrambling around. She's panicking because she can't find her phone. And then after who knows how long, she remembered, oh, the phone I'm talking on in my hand right now.
That is a sign of preoccupation.
Yeah.
I do that often. That is a true sign of being preoccupied. Lately, I've had to check myself. Last weekend, I went to the bank. I put money in my wallet, but I put it behind something, and I got in McDonald's, and I was like, I thought I left the money in the ATM machine.
Oh no.
So I did this panic move. I grabbed my food. I looked in my wallet and I was like, I had a staff meeting at that moment where I was like, William, what else is on your mind? Because you're doing dumb moves, you know. But my mind was preoccupied because I had 15 other things on my mind, and I was doing like robotic, movements because I do the same thing every Saturday morning. I'm extremely predictable. And there was something else today that I did where I was like, oh, I thought I was filming myself for my Friday sews. I try to get a lot of my filming in early because it's terrible to be rushing on a Thursday, you know?
Yeah.
Long story short, I thought I left my camera outside. When I came back, it was right where I left it.
Oh.
But I'm such a creature of routine. I just do things without even thinking about it.
I had to go across to the neighbors tonight because they left their garage door open. I said, did you know you left your garage door open? And they're like, oh, thank you. I'm just picturing their bicycles disappearing. And is this too loud in people's ears? Should I mute myself?
No, you're good. My neighbors do that, and I swear they're challenging people. But my neighborhood has a terrible reputation because, like a couple of my neighbors, more in the beginning of the street, are extremely mean to solicitors, which is not necessarily a bad thing. And I'm world famous with solar people. For some reason, they're the new what is comparable to just somebody who won't back down, somebody who's selling something who won't back down.
Well, it used to be like used car salesman, but
Solar people feel it is their obligation to put their solar on your house, and they do not take no as an answer. If I'm extremely polite, but I have this weird cutoff where, like, if you come to my door and I'm like, nah, I'm okay, and they're like, why? I'm gonna close my door. I'm not gonna be rude to you. I'm not gonna even give you a snarky. I'm not gonna smack my lips. Nothing. There is no need for us to have. If I say no, at that point, there is no need for us to even have a conversation. There was
yeah.
this one guy. I kept on saying no, no to him. He came back with like 9 dudes. Do you know I didn't answer my door? I don't think they were there to jump me. I think they were the solar dudes because they were putting in solar down the street, but they kept on coming back to my house. Even today, I forgot today. I feel sorry for these kids because they're not ready for me. This guy, I'm rushing back and forth, getting my son ready for his class. I just got done streaming with on Rashawn's channel. I had my coffee. I'm putting my books and everything in my car, and they see me rushing back and forth because these kids are going from house to house. And the guy comes up to me and I say, hey, bro, I'm gonna rush. I really don't have time. Have a good night. And he looks at me and he's like, oh, what's a good time to come back? And I was like, never. He wasn't ready for me to say that. He was shocked when I said, don't come back. I didn't even give him an explanation. Wasn't even snarky or mean. I smiled. I was like, have a good day. And it wasn't even being sarcastic, but I just told him bluntly the truth. Like, please don't come back to my house. I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want to say anything insulting to you, young man, but I'm not going to buy your solar. They're aggressive. Solar is the new religion. Matter of fact, we used to say this about certain people, but right now the solar guys are going to bed. Right now, they're sleeping so they can wake you up in the morning.
Have you heard about our Lord and environmental savior, solar power?
I think it's because I'm home during day hours because I'm a third shifter. Like, I think they have me on a list too. Like, this guy's home. I feel, and I don't even care because we are watched, but like, a lot of it is because everybody in my neighborhood got solar from the same company, and they're like, why is this man not getting solar from us?
I'll have to send you a copy of my door sign.
I need one. My uncle had one. He was an ornery, he still is an ornery, angry dude, but it's legitimate. Like he would tap the sign, like break the wall, tapping the sign, like, or he would come up angry, like, did you not see the sign?
I was so mad. Was talking about my sign to one guy, and he like straight up told me, oh, well, we like ignore that. We knock on everybody's door at least once. I'm like, no, approaching and seeing my sign was your one time. That's when you go away and you don't knock on my door. I was so mad.
The only reason I don't have a fence around my house is because because I refuse to have my mailbox in front of my house. I know people who have purposely planted shrubs around their entire property line, and now they have a wall of shrubs between them, and you have to like walk between. There's like one walkway in and out of their house. It's actually kind of ingenious. I don't want to be that guy though. When it's a trip when I go where I live, it's still kind of like Mayberry, okay? When I go deeper into LA, every house has 14 to 17 foot chain link fences in front. There's this one neighborhood I went to to buy fireworks where every single house on the cul-de-sac had a chain link fence in front. It looked crazy.
To buy fireworks? Are you trying to set the state on fire? What the heck?
I knew somebody that had the hookup for mortars, but I don't hang out with that person anymore, so I can say that. It was fun. I'm not a firework person. It's not my thing. But see, I've been to Mexico on Day of the Dead. That's some bucket list stuff. And it is a trip to set off mortars and see them go. But where we live, it's super, that's some, that'll get you put in the slammer.
And rightfully so. Trying to burn the state down.
But I actually knew people that did it responsibly with Bud Lights. So, it's one of those weird things. You know what? I had your view until I met these people, and they, with 100 Bud Lights were, and no one ever got hurt. Not one time. Everybody had a good time, Not a firework fan, huh?
Well, fireworks are amazing. It's just the state is too flammable. So,
I've told you my real beef is here. People set them off. Anytime there's a holiday, you'll just randomly start hearing pop, pop for a month before and a month after.
Yeah.
And I used to always think it was one or two people, but then last 4th of July, my neighborhood was lit up like Disneyland.
Oh, goodness.
It was like the end of the Electric Street Parade fireworks. But I try not to be a worrier, but if they aim those mortars wrong, they will go off in front of someone's front lawn, or if you don't aim them up.
Yeah. All right, I've got this reassembled. Let me show it off so I can move it out of my way. I just saw your comment, Alibaba. You would have just put up with the yellow color toolbox. Well, you know what happened? I just happened to have the toolbox on hand. I think it came with something else. And I had a can of paint lying around. So I decided to paint it. I figured even, if it didn't work out, I wasn't really at a loss. But I think it looks pretty fabulous. And this wasn't from grease on my hands, so I wiped it all off. This is where the handle was sharp. And I
can't even see it.
I scratched it. So I'll just fill that in with some paint or a marker or something. But meanwhile, look how much better that looks.
Amazing.
Woman who isn't a fan of construction yellow.
Purple rain. Purple rain.
Oh, I put all my hinges back on and everything. So
that looks amazing.
Thank you.
I'm a fan of construction yellow, or my favorite, please don't run me over, orange. Whenever I'm deep in a tree or something and I have to put those orange shirts on, I call it please don't run me over, because it's true. Like that's what all the people that work on the highway, they wear that bright orange.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not in a construction site where I'm what's the word? Where there's a possibility that I might lose my box of stuff in the rubble. So it's fine.
And now I just have Purple Rain playing in the back of my head. That is one thing, like in the man world, if I showed up with a purple motorcycle, everybody would be like, hey man, that's cool. But if I showed up with a Vespa, they would send me to a psychiatrist.
See, I'm not sure about that. Especially if you ride it with confidence. I think you just might, bring everyone on the Vespa bandwagon.
You think I should start the Vespa revolution? I'll make vests for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Prince made purple motorcycles Superman.
He was the most manly, frilly man. But, different times. Everyone was frilly then.
I was about to say, I still watch Here We Go Again on. Everybody had a perm in that video.
Mm-hmm. Perms or rocking their own curly hair.
Wearing bangles. Everybody was wearing bangles.
Frilly shirts, fringe.
Oh, I said, is he wearing bangles? Yes. I say that all the time about that era. What about a Vespa? The Ferrari red.
Ooh. Now, would you be more likely to get pulled over because of the red color or less likely because it's a Vespa?
The cop would laugh at you as they fly past you on their BMW or Harley. Both are superior because they're big body and they go 10 times faster.
I don't know. I mean, I saw a badass looking Vespa gang.
You sent me that picture. They look like Smash Mouth. Somebody once told me the world's gonna something. They looked like look like the spin doctors on. See, that's the thing. I say this all the time about Harleys. A Harley Davidson is the only thing an investment banker can buy. Put on some leather, go to the next town, and scare the hell out of everybody. You do that with a Vespa, they're gonna be like, "Oh, he's having a midlife crisis."
Yeah, but the thing is, though, you already look like a badass. So you would just be a badass on a Vespa.
It's my eyebrows. I had this weird conclusion today. It's my eyebrows because I wasn't wearing a hat, and quite a few people mentioned they're like, I haven't seen you without a hat. I have resting bee face. It's my high cheekbones, and if I don't smile, I look angry. I can't help that. It's my face.
I sent 2 pictures to a friend.
They have Vespa gangs
and
in Italy.
face pictures, and he said, "Oh, I like the one where you're smiling." And I'm like, "I was smiling in both of them."
Exactly. When you have when you have a certain look, people think you're angry all the time. I'm really not. I'm actually an extremely happy person. When life gives you lemons, you smile and make lemonade. Well, don't forget about the Indian motorcycles. See, but Indian motorcycles are big body, full motorcycles. No one's gonna make fun of you if you pull up on Indian. They're gonna be like, "Oh man, that's cool." And especially now because Indian and Harley, all those companies, all their bikes are identical.
Oh, I'm sorry, it broke up. So all their bike what?
All their bikes are identical.
Mm.
I kind of want there's power in advertising, and because I'm constantly talking about and looking up anything that is my social media, they're trying to sell motorcycles to me on everything. And you know what? Those Indians look nice. They actually look really, really nice.
Are these electric Indians?
Why are you trying to domesticate me? I have Alf from 1988 going in the background right
No,
now.
I was asking because the other day you were talking about the electric Harley. So I just wondered if you were looking at electric Indians.
I know, but if it doesn't smell like oil and scream as you're driving it, is it, if it doesn't fall in the forest, did it really fall? I look Neanderthal, so I have the resting Neanderthal face.
See, if they only knew you were a friendly softie who collects sewing machines.
But it's also perception though, because you can't help what people think of you. So I just live my life in peace, Whether I dress like sons of sewing.
Well, I mean, if you walk around in a patch that says "F you, I only talk to sewing machines," you have to kind of expect certain reactions.
Well, that's different because I got treated the same when I dressed preppy and wore structure clothes all the time. So it doesn't matter. Oh, now I have that song stuck in my head. Somebody once told me.
Oh no.
Those guys, okay, if they see, that's the thing on a Vespa. I'm sure if those guys got off the Vespa, they're probably 5'11", 6 feet tall. They're probably a huge brick, but they look like Smash Mouth on Vespas. Squirrel Nut Zipper is not intimidating. The Spin Doctors does not scare me. It's a great song.
I like that song. 1, 2. Prince is here before you. What I sing now.
You see that it's gonna be in my playlist now. I'm gonna get the most random suggestions because the phone's listening, and it's not even here to spy on you. It's just here to sell you stuff and get you to listen to music. All right, we've been going. You know, it's so funny. I wasn't even gonna go that long tonight because I made the pants. There really wasn't much to do. We've officially done a full tour this evening. But for real, I want to thank everybody. DJ Dose, thank you so much for being here and contributing. Alibaba, as always, you are a valued member here in the House of Sewing. And now I'm going to be looking up Italian Vespa gangs. It's going to be 3:30 in the morning. I'm going to be all compelled because I got all caught up in the Australian culture. Rashawn, thank you. Anybody who watches in the future, I thank you. Anybody who was here, I asked trees, everybody. You guys are amazing. I'll be back at it. Yay!
Hi, Joy.
Yay! Good to see you, Joy. Thank you so much. We had a great time. So I'll be back at it on Wednesday.
Don't forget our new person, Toaster Pup.
Great to see. And Toaster Pup, thank you so much. You know what? It's comments like that give me motivation to keep going. So I truly thank you because, thank you. We've been going at it for a while and I'm not trying to get all deep and start crying. It's been a long day. So I'll be back at it. The pants came out perfect. I would like to thank my co-host, Waternay. Thank you as always.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Native. I'll be back at it on Wednesday. Please feel free to stop by. You are always welcome here in the House of Sewing. Again, DJ Doze, everybody, Alibaba, Native, Joy, thank you so much for stopping by. I'll be back at it on Wednesday. And like I always say, reinforce your seams, be yourself, and I will definitely see you next time. Bye.